Tibza.
Ah,
Okay.
que tem um
Okay,
lugar,
Tibza.
que tem um lugar.
Vamos lá, tu.
O lugar é o corpo do mãe.
Free State.
Tu ainda
Public,
não
public,
precisa de um livro de door to door.
public hearing.
Tanto livro de public hearing, mona bunye.
Hey, kutata. Kutata. The last one, Nikki.
Missy Mashilo. You're fine now.
Yes, thank you very much. He's fine now. Thank you.
Oh, okay, sure.
It's 2 o'clock. Is the ANC still sleeping?
Recording in progress. Recording stopped. Recording in progress.
Would like to request that we observe a moment of silent prayer or prayer or meditation. Thank you very much. You may be seated. Just welcome the delegates here. After some time that all of us have been running up and down in the sun, we are here now. Now, before we proceed, I would like to remind delegates of the rules relating to virtual and hybrid meetings and sittings, in particular sub-rules 21, 22, and 23 of Rule 103, which provide as follows. The hybrid sitting constitutes a sitting of the National Council of Provinces. Delegates in the hybrid sitting enjoy the same powers and privileges that apply in a sitting of the National Council of Provinces. For purposes of the quorum, all delegates who are logged onto the virtual platform shall be considered present. Delegates must switch on their videos if they want to speak. Those who experience connectivity issues are encouraged to use a still photograph for identification on the virtual platform. And dit moet tog nie 'n lelike foto wees nie. Delegates on the virtual platform are encouraged to log on with one device only, as logging on with two or more devices further lowers bandwidth. Delegates should ensure that the microphones on the gadgets are muted and must remain muted unless they are permitted to speak. All delegates in the chamber must insert their cards to register on the chamber system. Delegates who are physically in the chamber must use the floor microphone. All delegates may participate in the discussions through the chat room. In addition, I would like to remind delegates that the interpretation facility is supposed to be active. Permanent delegates, members of the executive, special delegates, and SALGA reps on the platform are requested to ensure that the interpretation facilities on their devices are properly activated to facilitate access to the services. Permanent delegates, special delegates, SALGA representatives, and members of the executive in the chamber should use the interpretation instruments on their desks to access the interpretation facilities. Honorable delegates, I would like to begin with the plenary session, and we will now allow an opportunity to delegates to give notices of motion. It's 20 minutes in total for the notices and the motions without notice. So those who wish to give notices of motion, can you please raise your hands? Notices of motion. So please raise your hand. I will identify you now. I also just want to log on so that I can check on others that is on the platform. So those that want to give notices of motion, Honorable Bartlett.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson. Honorable Chair, I hereby move on behalf of the African National Congress that the House in its next sitting debates strengthening and professionalizing local governments to critically focus on the key responsibility of providing services that promote social and economic development and create a safe and healthy environment in partnership with communities, local business, and civil society. I so move. Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson.
Let me just, I'm just going back to the notices of motion. Noted that I'm confused because the guide is very unclear. The guide should assist us because people, we are outside, we are hearing different lingo. They're the ones that we are using here. So we will continue and it will be Honorable Mama Rahane. May continue.
Thanks, Honorable Deputy Chairperson. I hereby move on behalf of the African National Congress that the House in its next sitting to the implementation of infrastructure project to stimulate economic activity and meet the people's needs, including in areas such as human settlements, roads and rail, rural bridges, water, and sanitation. I so move on, Chairperson.
Thank you, Honorable Mama Rahane. Is there still other notices of motion? Honorable Mutwa.
Yes.
I'm very sorry. I wasn't sure about your surname, but also welcome from myself to the NCOP, Honorable Mutwa. You may continue. That is with a notice of motion. Thank you, Honorable Ryder.
Thank you, Chairperson. Greetings, honorable members. I rise on behalf of economic freedom fighters that council in the next sitting debate the challenges faced by TVET colleges in training young people to develop skills and knowledge that are needed in the labor market. So I move.
Thank you very much, Honorable Mutwa, and welcome once again. Next will be Honorable Lee.
I did.
Thank you, Chairperson. I rise on behalf of the economic freedom fighters that council in the next sitting debate the electricity price hike which was implemented earlier this month, which is a direct result of the ruling party's mismanagement and corruption at ESCOM. The electricity hike hits the poor and the working class hardest and comes in the midst of the high unemployment rate, a stagnant economy, and an ever-increasing cost of living. I so move. Ke a leboga Modulasetulo.
Noted. Honorable Lee, Honorable De Bruin.
Thank you, Deputy Chairperson. On behalf of the Freedom Front Plus, I move that this House in its next sitting debate the powers and functions.
Order,
Excuse me, Chair.
Honorable Lee. Can you please mute? Sorry, Honorable De Bruin, you may continue.
Thank you, Chairperson. I wish to move that this House in its next sitting debate the powers and functions as well as the regulation of water boards in South Africa. And that this House notes that the Kopanong municipality has been under 30% water restrictions for more than 2 years, and also notes that parts of the Mangaung Metro municipality are constantly struggling without water as a result of a lack of capacity and infrastructure by the Vaal Central Water Board. And this is also the case in Heilbron in the Nguate municipality serviced by Rand Water. And that this House also notes that this is a direct violation of the citizens' constitutional right to access to clean water. I so move. Thank you, Chair.
Can you move my
Honorable Mishodi, that was a motion without notice, or notice of motion, not a motion without notice. So we continue. Honorable Mishodi.
Thank you very much, Deputy Chairperson. Good afternoon. I hereby move on behalf of the African National Congress that the House its next sitting debate mechanism aimed at expecting measures geared at attracting more new investors to partner with the government in its quest to upgrade South Africa port and rail network, which will grow the country inclusive economy and job creation. I so move, Honorable Deputy Chairperson. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Mishodi. Honorable Mukause. Honorable Mukause. We will continue. That will be the end of the notices of motion. Honorable delegates, I will now allow an opportunity to delegates who wish to move.
Can you move my chair?
Mutsamai, what is it? I didn't receive notice that you want to speak. So if you want to speak, speak now. Is it a notice of motion or a motion without notice?
Thanks, Chair. I raise on behalf of Economic Emancipation Movement, EFF, that Council note the passing of the Dr. Motsoku Peku, an Africanist, former president of the Pan-Africanist Congress of Azadia, PAC. Further note that Dr. Motsoku Peku died at the age of 93 last week, Friday on Chair.
Honorable Mutsamai, I ask, is it a motion without notice or a notice
it's a
of
motion
a motion?
without notice, Chair.
Okay, but why did you stop me when I haven't identified people yet? But you may continue because in any case, I don't see any problem with the motion that you are raising. Continue and finalize.
Thanks, Chair. Further note that Dr. Mutsuku Pegu died at the age of 93 last week, Friday, on the 19th April 2024. Acknowledge that Dr. Mutsuku Pegu has since 1960 been a member of the Pan-Africanist Congress of Azania, and he played a key role in the liberation strike, fighting for equality and the return of the land of the African people. Further acknowledge that Dr. Mutsuku Pegu's contribution cannot be misused. He served in a number of leadership positions, published over 30 books, and
We go to the gist of the motion, and that is the fact that we accept that there should be a motion of condolences with the passing on of Dr. Mutsuku Pegu, who all of us knew very well. So is there any objection? I take it there is none. So the motion is agreed to. Next will be Honorable K.M. Moimang. Honorable Moimang.
Thank you, Honorable Deputy Chairperson. Allow me on behalf of the African National Congress to rise on a motion without notice in celebrating 20 years of the expanded public works program. I hereby move without notice that the following be noted. One, that on Wednesday, 24th of April, President Cyril Ramaphosa officiated at the 20th celebration of the expanded public works program and the launch of phase 5 of the expanded public works program in Buffalo City municipality in the Eastern Cape province. Secondly, that the EPWP is a nationwide government program to create work opportunities and income support for poor and unemployed people through the delivery of public and community assets and services, thereby contributing towards development. Thirdly, that the program is one of the government's flagship public employment program and has been implemented for the past 20 years since April 2004. Fourthly, that since its inception, the program has created more than 14 million work opportunities across all the EPWP sectors through more than 300 public bodies and non-profit organizations implementing the EPWP. And lastly, that we made a call on the unemployed, especially have the opportunities that will get on the 1st of April 2024 to 31st March 2029. I so move, House Chair. I mean, Deputy Chairperson.
If none, the motion is agreed to in terms
No,
of section
there's objection
65
here.
of the Constitution.
There's objection here. I'm objecting.
The next will be Honorable Visser.
There's an objection. That motion is objected.
Honorable
Whether
Visser,
you like it or
may
not,
continue.
it's objected.
Honorable Makause, can I call you into order, please?
That motion
Honorable
is
Visser.
objected.
The motion was already passed. Honorable Visser.
That motion is objected.
Yes, your objection is late. Honorable Visser.
Not late. It's that objection is never late.
Can
Not
Honorable
late.
Makause be muted? We don't have time today. Honorable Visser.
Thank you, Honorable Deputy Chair. On behalf of the On behalf of the Democratic Alliance, I hereby move without notice that this Council notes the numerous motions tabled in the 6th Parliament regarding the regression of microbiological contamination from fecal pollutants and toxic waste after 53% of the sampled sites are a human health risk if crops are eaten irrigated using this water. Government, who is aware of the looming crisis, was not motivated to act. Acknowledges the concentration of nitrate and phosphate increases considerably, creating conditions for algae to grow and multiply rapidly, turning the water green, known as eutrophication. Notes the failure to appoint an independent scientific environmental impact assessment to determine the root cause of toxic and sewer pollution and measures to stop it, warning that the contamination of water in South African rivers is not suitable or safe for human consumption. Then, without addressing the root cause, using glyphosate to destroy the floating biomass on eutrophic rivers without first addressing the cause by preventing the flow of raw sewer from dysfunctional wastewater treatment works into the rivers, adding chemicals to an already distressed aquatic ecosystem. Notes the concerns raised in public domains that no criminal charges have been opened against accounting officers in their personal capacity, demanding accountability with consequences, despite the rapid regression of pollution of water in any one of South African rivers. Requests the ministers of the Department of Water and Sanitation and Department of Forestry and Environmental Affairs to respond with legal action against being taken, so that there is consequence management, and so that our rivers can be restored to the dignity to those who drink from it require. Thank you.
Is there any objection to the motion? If none, the motion is agreed to in terms of Section 65 of the Constitution. Next is Honorable Sheikh.
Thank you very much, Honorable Deputy Chairperson. I move on behalf of the African National Congress that the House welcomes the arrest of 8 Nigerian nationals who attacked police and damaged vehicles. Notes that at the time of the arrest, police were tracing information of one of the Nigerian nationals in possession of drugs. Also notes that whilst conducting their search, a large group of Nigerians attacked police and the police fired rubber bullets to disperse the crowd. Understands that one suspect was arrested for illegal drug possession and 3 were detained at the Kimberley police station for public violence. Also understands that later on, 4 other suspects were also arrested for malicious damage to property. Believes that those who seek to prevent police from exercising their duties should be dealt with harshly, and calls upon law enforcement agencies to do everything within the law to ensure that lawless behavior and attacking of police officers are not tolerated. I so move. Thank you, Deputy Chair.
Thank you. Is there any objection to the motion? If none, the motion is agreed to in terms of Section 65 of the Constitution. Honorable Nkosi.
Thank you very much, Honorable Deputy Chair. I hereby move without notice on behalf of the African National Congress that the House note that 2 days from now, on the 27th of April, South Africa will be celebrating National Freedom Day. Also note that this year's Freedom Day marks the 30th year since we ushered democracy from the shackles of the evil system of apartheid. Further note that South Africa has made significant strides since achieving freedom 30 years ago, thanks to its human rights-driven constitutional desperation. This has translated into sound governance and impactful programs that improve citizens' lives. We call upon the democratic government to continue to work hard within the multilateral institutions to make sure that all nations that continue to be oppressed in the African continent and elsewhere in the world attain their freedom and self-determination. I so move. Thank you, Honorable Deputy.
Is there any objection to the motion? If
We
none,
object. There's no
the
truth
motion is
about
agreed to in
anything.
terms of
No,
Section
the motion
65.
is not.
Honorable Nchabaleng.
Chairperson.
Thanks, Honorable Deputy
Chairperson.
Chairperson. I hereby move on behalf of without notice on behalf of the African National Congress that
But
the House welcomes the launch of.
Our whip have called.
Honorable
Order.
Samai, can I call you into order? I know how to do my job. I don't need you. Continue, Honorable Chabaleng.
Welcome. I hereby move without notice on behalf of the African National Congress that the House welcomes the launch of the phase 2 of Wi-Fi connectivity project in Limpopo, South Africa on Friday, the 19th April 2024. Note that the South Africa Connect phase 2 launch event was organized by the Department of Communications and Digital Technologies and took place at the Ephraim Mogale Stadium, Modimolle Local Municipality, Waterberg District in Limpopo. Understand that the project aims to bridge the digital divide by providing Wi-Fi access to communities and ensuring universal access to the internet. The program also aims to create an inclusive information society and then enable the government to provide broadband to communities. Deputy President Mashatile launched phase 2, which is expected to connect more than 42,000 government facilities, including schools, health facilities, post offices, police stations, and government offices to broadband services. Therefore, congratulate the Department of Communications and Digital Technologies on this important project that is aimed at rural district municipalities. I so move, Honorable Deputy Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Chabaleng. Is there any objection to the motion?
I'm objecting to the motion, and I'm rising on a point of order,
If there
Chair.
is an objection, the motion will not be proceeded with and will become a notice of a motion. Honorable Malika.
I'm rising on a point of order.
And your order is?
Chairperson.
Your order is?
There's a staff member there that has joined your criminal activities in the council.
Order, Chairperson.
Of muting me unnecessarily so. Talk to your staff. Talk to your staff. I'm a member of
Honorable Makau say it's time that
you
you
are
need to
not
act like a
going
leader.
to act
Act like a
criminally so
leader
in
so
that
that you can be
council,
respected.
and you are using
May I
staff
please
members.
continue?
It
May I
has to
please
stop
continue?
that thing. Yeah,
May I please, it's no longer on the point. May I please continue? I will continue and I will call on Honorable Malika to continue with your motion. Honorable Malika.
Thank you, Deputy Chair. I hereby move without notice on behalf of the African National Congress that the House welcomes the police seizure of Mendrex tablets with an estimated value of 2 million from a car on the M2 near Say Lores Pass on Friday, 20 April 2024. Note that the vehicle was headed from the Eastern Cape to Cape Town when it was intercepted. Understand that 50 packets of Mendrex were found in the false compartment in the back of the vehicle and the driver was immediately arrested. Also understand that the 33-year-old suspect is expected to appear in the Strand Magistrates Court to face charges of dealing in drugs. Believes that drugs pose a serious threat to South African communities and are most of the time a cause of violence, crimes, wreaking havoc in our communities. Commends the public for working with and giving information about criminality and drugs to the police drugs, and also commends law enforcement agencies for the work well done apprehending drug dealers and assisting in ensuring safe and drug-free communities. I so move.
Is there any objection to the motion? If none, the motion is agreed to in terms of Section 65 of the Constitution. Honorable Nsube.
Thank you very much, Deputy Chairperson of the Council. Allow me on behalf of the African National Congress that this August House notes with a deep sense of patriotism that on the 6th of April 2024 marked the 45th anniversary of the hanging of one of the selfless, courageous, and death-defying young freedom fighters of the African National Congress by the racist minority regime of apartheid, Comrade Solomon Kalushi Mahlangu, in 1979, and said in his last words before he was hanged, "Tell my people that I love them and that they must continue to fight. My blood will nourish the tree that will bear the fruits of freedom." Close quote. Believing that as our country celebrates 30 years anniversary of freedom in the next 2 days, it is befitting for all peace-loving Democrats to remember those who died for the freedom that we are enjoying today. Therefore, we call upon this August House to extend a message of solidarity to the family of Comrade Kalushi Mahlangu and his movement, the African National Congress, on the 45th anniversary of his hanging. I so move, Chairperson.
Is there any objection to the motion? If none, the motion is agreed to in terms of Section 65 of the Constitution. Honorable Bibi.
Thank you so much, Honorable Deputy Chairperson.
Honorable Chabaleng, mute, please.
Honorable Deputy Chairperson, allow me to rise on behalf of the African National Congress to move the motion without a notice. That this August House notes the appreciation of the peace climate of atmosphere of campaigning for the historic 2024 May 29 national and provincial elections. This is despite the significant increase in the number of the political parties that have registered to contest these elections and the robust spirit of the campaign. Believing that free and fair elections are not only the cornerstone of our constitutional democracy, but also a guarantee for peace and stability and the confidence in our independent electoral commission. Therefore, call unto the August House to extend a message of appreciation to all registered political parties for this. I so move, Chairperson.
Thank you, Honorable Bibi. Is there any objection to the motion?
Objection.
The motion is objected to and will now become a notice of a motion. Honorable Ndongeni.
Thank you, Deputy Chairperson. I hereby move without notice on behalf of the African National Congress that the House note with great sadness the drowning of a 3-year-old boy, Unexebo Botin, in a pit toilet at a crash in a Unit 6 in Tanzania in the Eastern Cape on 18 April 2024. Also notes that the toddler was taken to the hospital and died the following day. Understand that incident was reported to the police after the toddler's death and an inquest docket was opened. Welcome the Department of Education commitment to support the parents and entire staff with psychosocial support services and counseling during this difficult time. Also welcomes the department's intervention to guide the center further to ensure that it adheres to the guidelines provided by the government for the safety of the children under their care at all material times to avoid the reoccurrence of these kids of the incidents in the future, and convey its condolences to Unexebo's family, friends, and crash. I so moved. Thank you, Deputy Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Ndongeni. Is there any objection to the motion?
No.
There being no objection, it's agreed to in terms of Section 65 of the Constitution. You want to write? Okay, Honorable Khai.
Thank you very much, Honorable Deputy Chairperson. Greetings to you, honorable members. On behalf of the African National Congress, I here move without notice that the House welcome the 4 billion rand investment from Volkswagen South Africa meant for the assembly plant in Kariega in the Eastern Cape. Understand that the investment will introduce a new SUV model built on the Polo platform. Also understand that the move positions the facility as the sole manufacturer of the Polo brand globally, and the new SUV model will be exported to global markets. Believe that it will not only strengthen the assembly plant, but also secure livelihoods of approximately 3,500 people who are directly employed by VW SA, and 1,000 more that are indirectly affected. Therefore, congratulate government in the sterling work that they have done to bolster the automotive industry. I so move. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Is there any objection to the motion? There being no objection, it's agreed to in terms of section 65.
That motion is objected. Diamonds
Honorable
Dam
delegates,
and Eastern
we
Cape
shall now
knows very
proceed to
well
the
that
motion as printed on the
people
order
who were
paper in the
employed
name of the
in
chief whip.
Grosbakken are
I
still
call on the
owed
chief
their
whip to move
pensions.
the motion.
We
Can Honorable
objected
Makause
that
be
motion.
muted? Can Honorable Makause be muted?
We have
Honorable
objected.
Dango.
Thank you, Chairperson. Chairperson, draft resolution on behalf of the Chief Whip of the Council. The Council resolves that Rule 218 in brackets 1, which provides inter alia that the consideration of a bill may not commence before at least 3 working days have lapsed since the committee's report was tabled, be suspended for the purposes of consideration of the following bills. A, the Climate Change Bill, B, 9B-2022, National Assembly-76. B, D, Registries Amendment Bill, B28-2022, National Assembly, Section 75, and Second Amendment, Second Adjustments Appropriation 2023-2024 Financial Bill, Bill B6-2024, National Assembly, Section 77. Thank you, Deputy Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Honorable Dangor. Honorable delegates, we will now proceed to the voting on the motion, and I shall put the question. And the question is that the motion be agreed to. But before we proceed to voting, I shall allow the provinces the opportunity to make their declarations or vote in terms of Rule 86 if they so wish. Any declarations? If none, I shall now call on provinces to cast their votes. When called upon heads of delegations, they must indicate whether they vote in favor, against, or abstain. Eastern Cape.
Eastern Cape, Deputy Chair.
Thank you. Free State.
Free State votes in favor, Deputy Chair of the Council.
Thank you. Gauteng.
Gauteng agreed.
Thank you. KwaZulu-Natal.
KwaZulu-Natal yaseka sale sihlahla umbono.
Ngiyabonga. Limpopo.
Limpopo vote in favor, Honorable Chairperson.
Thank you. Mpumalanga.
Mpumalanga agrees, Honorable Deputy Chair.
Thank you very much. Northern Cape.
Northern Cape support, Honorable Chairperson.
Northwest.
Northwest support, Honorable Deputy Chair.
Thank you. Western Cape.
Good day, Honorable Deputy Chair, and the Western Cape will be abstaining on this one. Thank you.
Abstain or agree? I didn't.
Abstain. Yes, Honorable Deputy Chair.
Thank you very much, Honorable Lon. Voting is now closed. 8 provinces voted in favor, so I therefore declare the motion agreed to in terms of Section 65 of the Constitution. Honorable delegates, we will now proceed to the first order. Consideration of report on Select Committee on Transport, Public Service and Administration, Public Works and Infrastructure, ATC 27 March 2024, page 143, Luxembourg Protocol to the Convention on International Interest in Mobile Equipment on matters specific to railway rolling stock dated 27 March 2024. I will now call on the Honorable K.M. Moimang, Chairperson of the Select Committee, to present the committee report. Honorable Musimane Khape Kenny Moimang.
And you must know that I objected to your motion earlier on. You must not be that confident.
So what?
Thank you. Thank you, Honorable Deputy Chairperson, for giving me an opportunity on behalf of the Select Committee on Transport, Public Works, Public Service and Administration to present the motion of the Select Committee, the report of the Select Committee. We make a humble appeal and request on honorable members in terms of Section 2312 of the Constitution of the Republic of South Africa to ratify the Luxembourg Protocol to the Convention on International Interest in mobile equipment on matters specific to railway rolling stock, Luxembourg Protocol. Chair, the background to this protocol is as follows. The Luxembourg Protocol was adopted on the 23rd February 2007 at the diplomatic conference jointly sponsored by the International Institute for the Unification of Private Law and the Organization for International Carriage by Rail in Luxembourg. The Luxembourg Protocol is a multilateral treaty that establishes an international asset-based financing regime that will enable and reduce the cost of private financing for rail rolling stock. It creates a new worldwide legal framework that recognizes and regulates security interests of lenders, lessors, and vendors selling under conditional agreements, where each are secured by rolling stock. The Protocol of Luxembourg sets out a common international legal rights for funders financing rolling stock, including easing the repossession of collateral on debtor default or insolvency. Deputy Chair, this protocol accentuates substantially the reduction of credit risk and thus financing costs. As a result thereof, South Africa is already a party to the Cape Town Convention as well as the Aircraft Protocol. And both the Convention and the Aircraft Protocol have been incorporated into the South African law through the Convention on International Interest in Mobile Equipment Act 2007, Act number 4. However, once the Luxembourg Protocol is ratified by the National Council of Province, this act will be amended to include protocol. In essence, the Luxembourg Protocol seeks to, one, lower the barriers to entry for third-party operators, open up new rolling stock markets for manufacturers, and lead to a more competitive and dynamic rail industry worldwide, thereby bringing important social, environmental, developmental, and economic advantages as well as new business opportunities. Consequently, in May 2018, the Rail Working Group, a Swiss-based not-for-profit association established at the request of the adroit, conducted a study which estimated that the potential value of the financial savings on refinancing rolling stock in Africa will be 33.9 billion. This study was presented to the Department of Transport, National Treasury, the Department of Trade and Industry, the Department of Public Enterprise, the Department of International Relations and Corporations, as well as the African Rail Industry Association. In terms of consultation, Honorable Deputy Chair, the following stakeholders were indeed consulted. Since the adoption of the Luxembourg Protocol in 2007, the department, the Secretary General of Adroit, and the Chairman of the Rail Working Group has been consulting with various key stakeholders, including the departments that are indicated: Treasury, Trade Industry, PRASA, Public Enterprise, and Transnet, Gautrain, the Export Credit Insurance Corporation of South Africa, NEPAD Business Foundation, and the African Rail Industry Association. The department has again consulted the Economic Sector, Investment, Employment and Infrastructure Development Cluster, the Global and Continental Affairs Committee, and International Cooperation, Trade and Security Cluster. In addition, the Department of Transport sought a legal opinion from the Department of Justice and Constitutional Development and Department of International Relations, to which the state law advisors advised that the protocol fall within the ambit of Section 2312 of the Constitution of the Republic of South Africa Act of 1996, which requires parliamentary approval for ratification. There was consensus among members of the Select Committee on Transport, Public Service and Administration, Public Works and Infrastructure, and therefore the Select Committee considered the protocol against the backdrop of the recommendation of the National Development Plan, the White Paper on National Rail Policy, and the Economic Reconstruction and Recovery Plan, which directs greater private sector participation. Consequently, the Select Committee recommends that the National Council of Province, in terms of Section 2312 of the Constitution of 1996, to approve the protocol. And thank you, Honorable Deputy Chairperson. Thank you, Deputy Chairperson.
Thank you. Honorable delegates, I will now put the question, and the question is that the report be adopted. But before we proceed to voting, I shall allow provinces the opportunity to make a declaration of vote in terms of Rule 86 if they so wish. If none, we shall now proceed to the voting on the question, and I will call upon the provinces to cast their votes. When called upon, heads of delegations must indicate whether they vote in favor, against, or abstain. Eastern Cape.
Eastern Cape, yes, sir.
Thank you. Free State.
Free State is in favor, Chairperson.
Thank you. Gauteng.
Gauteng in favor, Chair.
Thank you. KwaZulu-Natal.
KwaZulu-Natal, yes, sir.
Limpopo.
Limpopo vote in favor, Deputy Chairperson.
Thank you. Mpumalanga.
Mpumalanga supports the reports, Honorable Deputy Chair.
Thank you. Northern Cape.
Northern Cape in favor, Honorable Chairperson. Thanks.
Thank you. Northwest.
Bokoni Bophirima ba ya amogela motlatsamodulasetulo.
Ke a leboga. Western Cape.
Die Weskaap steun hierdie verslag, ondervoorsitter.
Thank you. Western Cape. Who's making never made law to ZD, but there's no Western Cape. The voting is now closed. All provinces voted in favor. I therefore declare the report adopted in accordance with Section 65 of the Constitution. Honorable delegates, we will now proceed to the second order. Consideration of report of Joint Committee on Ethics and Members' Interests, ATC 22nd March 2024, page 89, non-disclosure of members' interests for 2023, contravention of the Code of Ethical Conduct and disclosure of members' interests. And I will now call on the Honorable Lydia Mashuri, the co-chairperson of the Joint Committee on Ethics and Members' Interests, to present the committee. Honorable Mushodi.
Thank you very much again, Deputy Chair. Good afternoon. Joint Committee of the Ethics and Member Interests 2023 Register Late Disclosure, Honorable Chairperson. Item 9.21 read with item 9.23 of the Code of Ethical Conduct and Disclosure of Member Interest. Prescribe that the Member of Parliament must disclose their registrable interests annually at the time determined by the Joint Committee on Ethics and Member Interest. Item 9.22 also states that if a member has no registrable interests, a nil return must be submitted. The due date for 2023 disclosure of member interest was on the 30th September 2023. Item 10.11 of the Code of Ethical Conduct and Disclosure of Member Interests provides as follows, Honorable Chairperson. A member breached the code. It is the member contravene or fail to comply with the requirement of the provision for disclosing interest. The process of disclosing registrable interest is the mechanism designed to hold a member of Parliament accountable to the electorate. It is also designed to eradicate conflict of interest in the work and duty of a member of Parliament. The Joint Committee adopt a non-tolerance approach in respect of members who do not disclose their register interests on time, honorable members. Of the 54 members of the Council who are requested to submit their disclosure, one member failed or neglect to submit his disclosure by the due date, honorable members. The committee convened on the 20 October 2023 and the 18 March 2024 to discuss the late disclosure. The committee report shows that the one member of the council who did not submit his 2023 disclosure on time is Honorable Itumeleng Ntube. In considering the matter relating to Honorable Ntube, the committee noted that this is the third time during the term of the Fifth Parliament that the member submitted his disclosure late. The member breached the code in 2019 and 2020. The committee considered this to be extremely serious. The committee requests the House to impose the highest penalty in terms of the code. The Joint Committee recommends to the House to impose a penalty in terms of item 10.771 of the code, which provides as follows, Honorable Deputy Chairperson. The committee must recommend to imposition of one or more of the following penalty where a member breach clause 10.11, a reprimand in the House, a fine not exceeding the value of 30 days' salary. The recommendation from the committee, Honorable Chairperson, the committee is recommended that the member be fined a value equal to 30 days' salary and the member be reprimanded in the House. I so table the report. I thank you, Deputy Chair.
Is hiding something that was done.
Thank you very much. Honorable delegates, I now want to put the question. And the question is that the report be agreed to. But before we proceed to voting, I shall allow provinces the opportunity to make their declarations of vote in terms of Rule 86 if they so wish. Provinces? If none, we shall now proceed to the voting on the question, and I now call upon the provinces to cast their votes. When called upon, heads of delegations, they must indicate whether they vote in favor, against, or abstain. Eastern Cape.
Eastern Cape iyavuma.
Thank you. Gauteng.
That's slaughtering you.
Please, Gauteng in favor.
Yeah, it's my mistake to make. Free State.
Free State is in favor, Honorable Deputy Chairperson of the Council.
Slaughtering yourself.
KwaZulu-Natal.
KwaZulu-Natal iyayoseka sihlalo.
Limpopo. Limpopo support. Thank you. Mpumalanga.
Mpumalanga supports, Honorable Deputy Chair.
Northern Cape.
Northern Cape supports, Honorable Deputy Chair.
Northwest.
Of course.
Northwest. Northwest.
Northwest support, Chair.
Thank you. Western Cape.
Northwest support.
Thank you.
The Western Cape supports, Deputy Chair.
Thank you. The voting is now closed. All provinces voted in favor, and I therefore declare the report adopted in accordance with Section 65 of the Constitution. Honorable delegates, in terms of the adopted report, the committee recommends that the member be fined a value equal to 30 days' salary and that the member be reprimanded in the House. Honorable Ntube, now you are on the platform, so I don't know whether you are standing. But for your own conscience, stand please. You are hereby reprimanded in the House for breaching the code in that you failed to submit your disclosure of interest for 2023 by the due date. I will not add anything. I just want you to take note of this reprimand.
Yes,
Thank
Deputy
you very much.
Chairperson, I accept the punishment. Thanks.
Thank you. I understand. Honorable delegates, we will now proceed to the third order. Consideration of the report of Joint Committee on Ethics and Members' Interests on the review of the Code of Ethical Conduct and disclosure of members' interests for Assembly and Permanent Council members, ATC 26 March 2024, page 4. And I will now call on the Honorable M.L. Mushodi, Co-Chairperson of the Joint Committee on Ethics and Members' Interests, to present the committee report. Honorable Mushodi.
Thank you again, Deputy Chairperson. The Joint Committee of Ethics and Member Interests review of the Code of Ethical Conduct and disclosure of member interest. Joint Rules 124 afford the Joint Committee of Ethics and Member Interest the competence to regularly review the Code of Ethical Conduct and disclosure of member interest and to make recommendation for its amendment. The current code that Parliament used was adopted in 2014 and has been in operational since the 1st of November 2014. 10 years later, this is the first time that amendments to the code are being proposed. In fact, the nature of the ethics has changed so substantially in the last 10 years that the Joint Committee threw it very important to put together a new draft code for Parliament, Honorable Deputy Chairperson. The new draft code, as ITC, goes a far way to address the fundamental issue of the declining trust that the public has in Parliament. Social media is the one of the way in which communication has evolved, and the new draft code introduced parameters for members of Parliament when they interact with the people or various social platforms. A fundamental introduction in the code is the provision of lifestyle audit, which is found in item 2022 of the new draft code. The code also gives the committee access to law enforcement agency if there are discrepancies identified in the lifestyle audit, honorable members. The new code clearly identifies that the disclosure of register interest is done on a basis platform, and therefore there has been formally moved away from paperless-based disclosures, which was already implemented by the committee since 2022, Honorable Deputy Chairperson. The work of the Joint Committee also highlighted the fact that certain definition in the code has to change, and those new definition as a family member has to be inserted. The disclosure of gift have been increased 1,500 to 3,000 to allow for the current value of the money. The complaint procedure in the code have now been aligned to the processes that the committee needs to follow when it deals with the complaint to ensure that the principles of natural justice are followed. This is why the Joint Committee does not meet as regularly as the Select Committee. The committee only meets when certain processes have been completed, which also it to interrogate a complaint before it. The drafting of the new code considered comprehensive research of foreign injustice and international instruments. As the chairperson of the committee, Honorable Deputy Chair, I do think that this is a huge milestone that the committee of the 6th Parliament was able to review the code and to propose a new draft code. That is 10 years after the current code. Honorable Deputy Chairperson, the work of the acting register Advocate Gordon must not go unnoticed in all of this, honorable members. It is through her effort of working tirelessly on the code that the committee was able to meet its obligation to review of the code and propose a new draft code. Her extremely work ethics to always go about and beyond for the committee. It is a greatly appreciated. The committee appreciated the effort considering that there are no other professional staff assigned to the office of the register. The Joint Committee is delighted to be able to present the new draft code to the House for adoption. Honorable Deputy Chairperson, I so table the report. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Mashodi. Honorable delegates, I will now put the question. And the question is that the report be agreed to. But before we proceed to voting, I shall allow provinces the opportunity to make their declarations of vote in terms of Rule 86 if they so wish. Any province? If none, we shall now proceed to the voting on the question. And I will now call upon the provinces to cast their votes. When called upon heads of delegation, they must just indicate whether they vote in favor, against, or abstain. Eastern Cape.
Eastern Cape iyavuma, Chair.
Inkosi. Free State.
Free State vote in favor, Deputy Chair of the Council.
Thank you. Gauteng.
Gauteng agreed, Chair.
Thank you. KwaZulu-Natal.
KwaZulu-Natal iyaseka sihlalo.
Ngiyabonga man, Limpopo.
Limpopo support on
Thank you. Mpumalanga.
Mpumalanga support the reports on Chair.
Thank you. Northern Cape.
Northern Cape support, Honorable Chairperson.
Thank you. Northwest.
Northwest support.
Thank you. Western Cape.
The Western Cape supports, Deputy Chair.
Thank you very much. Voting is now closed. All provinces voted in favor, and I therefore declare the report adopted in accordance with Section 65 of the Constitution. Honorable delegates, we will now proceed to the fourth order, consideration of the report of Joint Rules Committee on proposed amendments to chapters 3 to 5 of Joint Rules of Parliament, 6th edition, 2024. ATC reports 22nd March 2024, page 3. I will now call on Honorable Archibald Jomo-Nyambi for the Joint Rules Committee to present the committee report. Honorable Nyambi.
Thank you, Mama. Thanks for the opportunity. Greetings, honorable members. Once again, let me start by apologizing, Mama, where I'm seated, the network is so much of a problem. The sixth parliament assumed its constitutional obligation after the fifth parliament, which experienced disruption that undermined the decorum of the joint sitting and the two houses in general. This impacts the proper functioning of Parliament, Honorable Deputy Chair and Honorable Members. And it led us to have a way of reviewing the rules so that we can have a functioning Parliament. And over the sixth Parliament, we have observed improved conduct among members and the decorum of Parliament due to rules adopted by the two houses. Be that as it may, there were some little challenges that forced us to review our rules. The Joint Rules Committee adopted proposed amendments to Chapter 1 to 2B and the Joint Rules as recommended by the Joint Subcommittee on Review of the Joint Rules Subcommittee on the 1st of December 2023. On the 20th of March 2024, the subcommittee, having processed the outstanding joint rules, further recommended to the Joint Rules Committee the adoption of the proposed amendments to Chapter 3 to Chapter 5. Honorable Deputy Chairperson, the amendments strengthened various aspects of the rule to enhance the functioning of the Joint Committee and Joint Sitting rules and to adapt the joint rules to changes in condition due to the impact of the coronavirus, which has led to the normalization of the virtual meetings. Hence, now we're in a hybrid sitting, honorable members. Concerning virtual meetings and hybrid meetings, the two houses already had rules for virtual and hybrid, but it has now been inserted into the joint rules. The amendments provide everything related to virtual and hybrid sittings. In particular, the question of the venue to assert to Parliament as the venue, and that the distribution of papers electronically will suffice, and that privileges that members enjoy in a normal sitting will also carry over in respect of virtual or hybrid sittings, as is a classical case of what we're doing now, honorable members. The amendments also address the issue of voting. Members shall be entitled to cast their votes either electronically, by voice, or by show of hands, as we have been doing today. On public access to hybrid or virtual joint committee meetings, this shall be facilitated in a manner consistent with the participatory and representative democracy, and wherever possible, a virtual or hybrid joint committee meeting must be live streamed. In relation to joint subcommittee chairing, a parent committee of a joint subcommittee must designate a member or members of the subcommittee as the chairperson or co-chairperson of the subcommittee, as the case may be. The Joint Rules Committee also amended to establish a joint subcommittee on the removal of a member from the chamber. This is a critical intervention to strengthen the process of the removal of members in a manner that protects the rights and the decorum of the House. In relation to mediation committee per bill, when it announces in the ATC that a bill must be referred for mediation in terms of Joint Rule 226 or 235, this Assembly and the Council must A, establish the relevant mediation committee to deal with the bill, and B, appoint the members of that mediation committee in accordance with Joint Rule 139, subsection 1. The mediation committee must be established as soon as reasonably possible. In respect of constitutional amendments, a question before the mediation committee is decided as contemplated in sub-rule 1 and sub-rule 2, but the voting majorities required by section 74 of the Constitution apply when the bill is considered in the Assembly and in the Council. On the Joint Standing Committee on Defense, and the Joint Committee consists of Assembly and the Council members, as shall be determined by the Joint Rule Committee at the beginning of each Parliament, in accordance with section 228, subsection 3 of the Constitution of 1993, read with item 294, subsection 1 of Schedule 6. On the Joint Committee on Ethics and Members' Interest in relation to representation, members of the Assembly will be substantially the same proportion in which they are represented in the Assembly. The Joint Committee should regularly review the code and make recommendations for its amendment. It will further serve as an advisory and consultative body, both generally and to members, concerning the implementation and the interpretation of the code. To enhance effective legislation process, a joint committee can be established for the performance of any specific task, including the consideration of a bill as contemplated in section 45 of the Constitution. An ad hoc joint committee considering a bill must consider the bill referred to it in accordance with Part B and other relevant provision of Chapter 4 of the Joint Rules. The Speaker must appoint the Assembly members who are to serve on the committee after consultation with the Chief Whip of the majority party. When a member of the majority party is appointed and the most senior whip another party, when a member of that party is appointed. On the joint taking mechanism, a funding must be found on whether a bill is affected by a consultation requirement set out by the law related to a traditional or co-assigned authority, including whether the bill A affects the traditional or co-assigned communities, B contains any provision that pertains to customary law or custom of traditional or co-assigned communities, C pertains to a matter referred to in section 154, subsection 2 of the Constitution. The overall amendments by the joint rules clarify various legislative processes to provide more clarity and to have a comprehensive measure for effective legislation process by joint committees. These include measures on stopping fund allocation to provinces through an ad hoc joint committee known as Joint Ad hoc Committee on Intervention in Provincial Funding. Honorable Deputy Chair, we are more confident that these amendments will strengthen parliamentary process and clarify the functioning of the joint committees of Parliament. I, therefore, honorable members, Deputy Chair, table the report for adoption by the Council. Thank you very much, Mama.
Thanks very much, Baba.
Oh, it's you.
Honorable members, I now put the question. The question is that the report be agreed to. Before we proceed to voting, I shall now allow provinces the opportunity to make their declaration of vote in terms of Rule 86, if they so wish. If there's no provinces that is making declaration, we shall now proceed to voting on the question, and I'll now call upon the provinces to cast their voters. When they call upon hands of delegates must indicate whether they vote in favor or against or abstain. Honorable members, now I'll call the provinces according to the according to the according to their provinces.
What's happening? What's happening?
Eastern Cape. Eastern Cape.
Eastern Cape iyavuma, Chair.
Free State.
Free State vote in favor. DS no. House Chair.
Gauteng.
Gauteng in favor, House Chair.
Limpopo.
Aye, President.
Limpopo in favor, Honorable Deputy Chairperson.
Mpumalanga. KZN. Awusengidlulile mama.
Kanjani manje mama?
Angazi mama.
Hayi. I-KZN ayeseka ngesihlalo umbono lo. Thank you.
Okay, mama. Mpumalanga.
Mpumalanga supports the report, Chair.
Northern Cape.
Northern Cape supports the report, Honorable Chairperson.
Northwest.
Bokoni bophirima ba ya mogela.
Western Cape.
The Western Cape supports. Thank you.
Thanks very much. 9 provinces voting. Now is the time for closing the voting. Honorable members, now we're going to proceed to the 5th order. Honorable delegate will now proceed to the 5th order, consideration of Upstream, Petroleum, Resource Development Bill, B13B-2021, National Assembly, Section 76, and report of Select Committee on Land Reform, Environment, Mineral Resource and Energy, thereon announce the tabling and the committee report for 28 March 2024, P269. Honorable members, I call the Honorable Chi Modise, Chairperson of the Select Committee of Land Reform, Environment, Mineral Resource and Energy, to present the committee report. Honorable Modise.
No, thank you very much, Honorable House Chairperson. Honorable House Chairperson, let me greet my colleagues in the platform. Honorable House Chair, the Committee on Land Reform, Environment, Mineral Resource and Energy is presenting the Upstream Petroleum Resource Development Bill, B13B 2021, National Assembly Section 76, dated 28 March 2024. Honorable Deputy Chair, the Department of Mineral Resource and Energy briefed the committee on the 21st of November 2023 on the Upstream Petroleum Resource Development Bill, B13B 2021. The bill was referred to the committee on the 26th October 2023 as a Section 76 bill. The bill called for the committee called for written comments on the bill from the 22 November 2023 until the 30 January 2024. While the public hearings were held by the provincial legislatures, at the end of the public hearing engagement process of both the committee and the provincial legislature, the negotiating mandate meeting was held by the committee together with the provincial legislature on the 19 March 2024.
The Committee on Land Reform, Mineral Resource and Energy, having deliberated on the considered the subject of the Upstream Petroleum Resource Development Bill, B13 being 2021 National Assembly C, Section 76, referred to it classified by the JTM as Section 76 bill. The reports that agreed. Therefore, the committee requests the House to consider these reports, and all committee members agreed with the bill. Thank you very much, Honorable Chair.
Thanks very much, Chairperson. Honorable Delegate, that concludes the debate. I'll now put the question. The question is that the bill be agreed to.
I'm speaking.
Maria Shlupa, yes.
I'm rising on a point of order. No, this is not your house. This
But
is
you
a
didn't say that.
I'm
Just say
saying
I'm
Chairperson,
speaking.
Chairperson,
Yes,
Chairperson, this is not your house. It's a council.
It's our house.
The council. It's not your home. So I'm a part of that house. Therefore, when I rise on a point of order, you must afford me an opportunity.
What a point of order. What a point of order.
No, talk to me properly. I'm not your kid. I'm a member of the council. Talk to me properly.
What a point of order. Before ngikuvalela ngaphandle.
No, you are not going to do that.
I'll do it.
You are not going to do that.
I'll do it.
You are
Because
not
the
going to do
chairperson
that.
was reading the report, I was still continuing with the report of the chairperson. So I don't
I'm
know what
writing-
point of order. Tell
I'm
me the
writing-
point of order. If you don't tell me the point of order, ngiyakuvalela.
What arrogance is this? Or are you
And
saying
the table
goodbye?
assist me, please.
What
Ngicela
arrogance
nikuvalele.
is this?
And I'm not joking, the table.
No,
I'm
who's
not joking. I want to say once and you must listen what I'm saying. We're not going to control by Honorable Mukause here.
We respect your ruling, Chairperson, as the House.
Yeah, when you are losing a salary, sugar.
Honorable
Whenever
members,
you are coming with a
honorable members, before we proceed to vote,
point
I
of
shall
order.
now allow provinces the opportunity to make their declaration of vote in terms of Rule 86, if they so wish. There's none, province. Okay, we continue, honorable members. We shall now proceed to the voting of the question, and the question is that the bill be agreed to. I'll now call upon the provinces to cast their vote. When they call upon, heads of delegation must indicate whether they vote in favor, against, or abstain. Eastern Cape.
Eastern Cape here for my chair.
Thank you, Mama. Free State.
Free State is in favor, Chairperson.
Thanks, Baba. Gauteng.
Gauteng in favor, Chairperson.
Thanks, Baba. KwaZulu Natal.
KwaZulu Natal yawese kumbono.
Thanks, Momo. Limpopo.
Limpopo yayamogela report.
Thank you, Mama. Mpumalanga.
Mpumalanga iyavuma, Deputy Chair.
Thank you, Mama. Northwest.
Northern Cape, vote in favor, Honorable Chairperson.
Thanks, Mama. Western Cape.
It's Northwest, Honorable Chair.
And Northwest.
Yes, Northwest
Yes.
votes in favor. Honorable
Northwest.
Chair. I'm saying that Northwest votes in favor, Honorable Chair, of the
Thanks,
session.
Baba.
She's
Western
confused.
Cape.
She's just confused.
Chairperson, the Western Cape, we do not support this.
Support.
No, Chairperson.
Western Cape doesn't support. Thanks very much, Baba. Not support.
There we go.
Okay. Honorable members, only 8 provinces in favor and 1 not support. And now the voting is now closed. Honorable members, now we are going to the 6th order. Honorable delegate.
What's happening?
Thanks, honorable members. The number of the voters vote in favor. I therefore declare the bill agreed to in the according with section 65 of the Constitution. Honorable members, we will now proceed to 6th order, consideration of the climate change bill, B9B-2022, National Assembly, second 76, and a report of Select Committee on Land Reform, Environment, Mineral, Resource, and Energy, thereon announcement table and committee report, 23 April 2024. I call on the Honorable Modise, Chairperson of Select Committee on Land Reform, Environment, Mineral Resource, and Energy, present the committee report. Honorable Modise.
No, thank you very much, House Chair. The report on Select Committee on Land Reform, Environment, Mineral Resources, and Energy on the Climate Change Bill, B9B 2024, National Assembly, Section 76, dated 23 May 2024. The Department of Forestry, Fishery, and Environment briefed the committee on the 20th February 2024 on climate change bill, beginning 9B 2024. The bill was referred to the committee on the 24th October 2023 as Section 76 bill. The committee called for the written comments on the bill 22 November 2023 and January 2024. While the public hearing were held by the provincial legislature at the end of the public engagement process of both the committee and the provincial legislature, the negotiating mandate meeting were held by the committee together with the provincial legislature on the 16th of April 2024. The Select Committee on Land Reform, Environment, Mineral Resource, and Energy, having deliberated on the considered the subject of the climate change bill, B9B 2022, National Assembly Section 76, refer to it and classify by JTM as Section 76 bill. Reports that it's agreed to the bill B9B 2022 without any amendment. The committee requests the House to consider the bill. I so thank you, Honorable Chair.
Microphone.
Chair, I'm done.
Chair, I
Thank you,
assume.
honorable member, honorable delegate. That concludes the debate. I now put the question. The question
No,
is
Chair.
that the bill be agreed to.
House Chair, I assume at this stage you would ask provinces for a declaration, if that is how we do it normally. You can check with the staff at the table, Chair, but at this stage you usually ask for provinces if they would like to make a declaration, and then we do the vote.
Thank you, honorable member. I'm coming to the declaration. I was wondering what is happening now. Yeah, okay. Can you please follow me on what I'm doing right now? Then I'm coming to you.
Yes,
Before
House
we
Chair.
proceed to vote, I shall now allow the provinces the opportunity to make their declaration of vote in terms of Rule 86, if they so wish.
Honorable House Chair, I so
Honorable Lord.
wish.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Honorable Chair, climate change poses a threat to our stability and prosperity. The first issue that comes to mind is coal-fired generated energy versus green and renewable energy resources. While South Africa will continue to rely on coal-fired power stations for our electricity needs in the short to medium term, we need a clear path that will help our economy to transition in a way that is both urgent and sensible. We need diversification of our energy mix. Innovative governments empower the private sector to invest in and grow green energy projects and green jobs. Government should lead through clear policy and legislation that guide the market in our energy independence and protecting our natural and renewable resources. Furthermore, government should support new industries sprouting from the transition towards green energy. The success of this bill rests on two important factors, namely a coherent and consistent position on climate change and renewable energy, as well as ensuring that our provincial and local governments are adequately capacitated to drive the climate change response. This will pose a huge challenge in many areas as is. The bill is not perfect, but it is an important step towards addressing one of the most challenging issues facing the world today. The Western Cape therefore supports this bill. I thank you.
Thanks very much, Honorable Member. Honorable Bibi.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. The impact of climate in South Africa has been significant, with escalating risks of droughts and floods across the country. The urgent impact of climate change is evident, highlighting the pressing need for proactive measures to mitigate its effects and enhance resilience. The African National Congress has emphasized the necessity for government support in implementing the climate change bill to effectively address these challenges and prioritize the protection of impoverishment and vulnerable communities. Chair, the 55th National Conference of the African National Congress has brought to our attention the urgent and central challenge of the climate crisis in South Africa. The escalating risk of drought and floods across the country have highlighted the critical need for proactive measures to protect the lives of the livelihoods of all South Africans. In response to this pressing issue, the African National Congress has resolved that the government should mobilize support for this bill, which aims to guide South Africa into a more sustainable and climate resilient path. Chairperson, this bill is not just a legislative measure, but it is a commitment in prioritizing the protection of the poor and vulnerable communities in the rollout of climate resilient infrastructure solution. It aligns with the principles enshrined in Section 24 of the Constitution, ensuring the right to conserved environment for the benefit of current and future generations. This bill also aims to reduce human and economic vulnerability, as well as the vulnerability of the physical and ecological infrastructure to climate change. Chairperson, dealing with this with climate change means that African National Congress government is ensuring a sustainable future of our people in a proactive manner. Furthermore, the bill seeks to enable the economy and society to adapt to climate change in coordinated and integrated manner. This is a vital step in protecting the environment and human well-being from hazard elements, as well as strengthening individuals and societies' adaptive potentials to adjust to the effects of the climate change. In conclusion, Chairperson, a successful response to climate change must begin with appropriate legal framework, the guides and government response to national disasters, and enable a sustainable environment. Lastly, Chairperson, this bill is a crucial step in the direction, and it is imperative that we all come together to support and implement this vital legislation for the betterment of all South Africans and ensure sustainable development. The ANC support this bill, Chairperson Mama. I thank you.
Thank you, Mama. Honorable members, we shall now proceed to the voting on the question, and the question is that the bill be agreed to. I will now call upon the provinces to cast their vote. When they call upon head of the delegation, must indicate whether they vote in favor, against, or abstain. Eastern Cape.
Eastern Cape iyavuma, Chair.
Free State.
Free State is in favor, House Chairperson.
Gauteng.
Gauteng in favor, House Chairperson.
KwaZulu-Natal.
KwaZulu-Natal iyaweseka umbiko sihlalo.
Thank you, Mama. Limpopo.
Limpopo yayamogela.
Raleboga mme. Mpumalanga.
Mpumalanga agrees, Honorable House Chair.
Thanks, Mama. Northern Cape.
Northern Cape supports, Honorable Chairperson.
Thanks, Mama. Northwest.
Northwest supports, Honorable Chair.
Thank you. Western Cape. Western Cape. Okay. Western Cape.
Chair, as we've indicated in the declaration, the Western Cape supports. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Baba. The number of the voting honorable members in favor, there are 8. I therefore 9. I therefore declare the bill agreed to in accordance with Section 65 of the Constitution. Honorable members, now we are proceeding to the 7th order. Honorable delegate, we will now proceed to the 7th order, consideration of the National Small Enterprise Amendment Bill, B16B-2023, National Assembly, Sect 76, and a report of a select committee to trade and industry, economic development, small business development, tourism, employment and labor thereon. Announcement, table, and the committee report on the 17th April 2024, P77. The following speakers, I will call the Honorable M.I. High, Chairperson of the Select Committee on Trade and Industry, Economic Development, Small Business Development, Tourism, Employment and Labor, to present the committee report. Babu Khai.
Thank you very much, Honorable House Chairperson. Greetings to you and honorable members. The Select Committee on Trade and Industry, Economic Development, Small Business Development, Tourism, Employment and Labor, having received submission on the National Small Enterprise Amendment Bill, B16B-2023, and having considered the written submission, reports as follows: that the objects of the National Small Enterprise Amendment Bill are to amend the National Small Enterprise Act of 1996 in order to amend, delete, insert, and to substitute certain definitions, to provide for the report of the advisory body, further to provide for the establishment of a Small Enterprise Development Finance Agency, and to provide for the functions of the agency. In addition, to ensure the provision of financial and non-financial support services to small enterprises. Further, the objects are to promote the development of sustainable and responsible cooperative banking, to provide for the establishment of the Office of the Small Enterprise Ombudsman Services, and to enable an equitable trading environment for small enterprises through provision of affordable and effective access to justice. In addition, the aims of the bill are crafted to empower the minister to declare certain practices in relation to small enterprises to be prohibited as unfair trading practices, and to provide for transitional arrangement necessitated by the establishment of the agency. Finally, the object seeks to effect consequential or necessary amendments to the Cooperative Banks Act of 2007 and to the Cooperatives Act of 2005, and to provide matters connected with. The Select Committee's process followed in respect of the bill. The National Small Enterprise Amendment Bill, honorable members, was passed by the National Assembly, transmitted to the National Council of Provinces, and referred to the Select Committee on Trade and Industry, Economic Development, Small Business Development, Tourism, Employment and Labor on the 6th of January 2024. The Department of Small Business Development briefed the Select Committee jointly with the Gauteng Provincial Portfolio Committee on Economic Development, as I said, on the 6th of February 2024. The committee advertised the bill, inviting interested stakeholders for public comments, with the closing date for submission set on the 16th February 2024. 5 stakeholders submitted written submission, namely Ministry of Economic Finance Opportunities of the Western Cape Province, Litumile Makobe, the Chief Executive Officer of Womenpreneurs Business Hub, the South African Insurance Association, Durban Chamber, the South African Reserve Bank. The Department of Small Business Development and Parliament's legal advice responded to issues raised by the stakeholders on the written submission received on the 5th of March 2024. Thereafter, negotiating mandates meetings were held on the 19th and 26th March 2024. The committee met to receive responses from the Parliamentary Legal Advisor and the Department of Small Business Development on issues raised in the negotiating mandates on the bill. All 9 provinces submitted negotiating mandates were in favor of the bill. The following reflects the vote of the provincial legislature in respect of the National Enterprise Bill of B16 of 2023. So all the 9 provinces, as I said, supported the bill in the negotiating mandates, with some having proposed amendments. The final mandates that were submitted by the provinces were considered then on the 16th of April, which were submitted as follows. Eastern Cape voted in favor, Free State voted in favor of the bill, Gauteng voted in favor, KwaZulu-Natal voted in favor, Limpopo voted in favor, Mpumalanga voted in favor, Northern Cape voted in favor, Northwest voted in favor, Western Cape voted in favor. So the outcome of the Select Committee on the bill was that after having deliberated and considered the subject of the National Small Enterprise Amendment Bill B16B of 2023, referred to it and classified by JTM as Section 76 bill, report that it has been agreed to without amendments. Thank you very much, Honorable House Chairperson.
Thank you, Baba. Thank you, Honorable Member. Honorable Delegate, that concludes the debate. I will now put the question. The question is that the bill be agreed to. Honorable members, before we proceed to voting, I shall now allow provinces the opportunity to make their declaration of vote in terms of the Rule 86 if they so wish. Any province for declaration? Honorable Dodovo? Okay. None?
No, I'm not doing any declaration, Honorable Chair.
Back to Doviang Pazamisa. Honorable members, we shall now proceed to the voting of the question, and the question is that the bill be agreed to. I will now call upon the provinces to cast their vote. When called upon, heads of the delegation must indicate whether they vote in favor, against, or abstain. Eastern Cape?
Eastern Cape here for my chair.
Thanks, Mama. Free State?
Free State is in favor, House Chairperson.
Thanks, Baba. Gauteng?
Gauteng in favor, House Chairperson.
Thanks, Baba. KwaZulu Natal?
KwaZulu Natal yaweseka umbiko.
Thanks, Mama. Limpopo?
Limpopo in favor.
Thanks, Mama. Mpumalanga?
Mpumalanga is in agreement, House Chair.
Thanks, Mama. Northern Cape?
Northern Cape supports, Honorable Chair.
Thanks, Mama. Northwest? Northwest? Thank you, Mama. Western Cape?
The Western Cape supports.
Thanks, Honorable Member. Voting is now closed. The number of the provinces voted in favor, there are 9. I therefore declare the bill agreed to in according with Section 65 of the Constitution. Honorable members, we will now proceed to the 8th order, consideration of the Housing Consumer Protection Bill, B10D-2021, National Assembly Section 76, and the report of Select Committee on Cooperative Governments and Traditional Affairs, Water Sanitation and Human Settlement, thereon, announcement, table and committee report on the 26th March 2024 P315. I'll call on the Honorable T.S.C. Dodovo, Chairperson of the Select Committee on Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs, Water Sanitation and Human Settlement, to present the Select Committee report. Honorable Dodovo.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson of the session, Honorable Permanent Delegates, Honorable Special Delegates. I'm humbled and honored to table the report of the Select Committee on Cooperative Human Settlements, Water and Sanitation on the processing of the Housing Consumer Protection Bill, which has been classified as Section 76 by our parliamentary joint tagging mechanism. Honorable Chairperson, besides repealing the Housing Consumer Protection Measures Act of 1998, the bill seeks to transform the housing sector in that, as a committee and members of the Select Committee have acknowledged and accepted that the provisions were not adequate in the first place to provide legal protection for housing consumers against unscrupulous and greedy home builders and the enrollment of homes to be covered by the warranty fund. I'm delighted to report that the object of this bill that is before the House today, when our democratic country is left with only 34 days before 2024 national elections, have been supported by all the provincial legislatures and permanent delegates serving in our select committee, have been conferred with the right to vote in favor of the bill. As I indicated, the bill seeks to repeal the Housing Consumer Protection Measures Act 95 of 1998 because of the certain challenges which were identified, which impacted negatively on the effective execution of the National Home Builders Registration Council's mandate. The current bill seeks to ensure adequate protection of consumers and the effective regulation of the home building industries by strengthening the regulatory mechanisms, by strengthening the protection of housing consumers, by introducing effective enforcement mechanisms, and by prescribing appropriate penalties or sanctions to deter non-compliance by home builders. The bill seeks to make reimbursement of housing consumers for losses that they incur in the process. It further seeks to address economic transformation of the home building industry by introducing the warranty surplus scheme to be used towards the human settlement development programs for home builders. The bill, lastly, Honorable Chair, seeks to align and create synergy and alignment with other relevant pieces of legislation like the Public Management Finance Act of 1999, as well as the Promotion of Administrative Justice Act of 2000. Honorable Chair, on behalf of the members of the Select Committee, let me take this opportunity to thank the Minister of Human Settlements, Honorable Mamuloko Kubai, and the senior departmental officers for providing leadership and technical support to permanent members during briefings in the provincial legislatures and public hearings in the provinces. On behalf of the members of the Select Committee, allow me to therefore report to this House that having considered and deliberated on the object of the Housing Consumer Protection Bill, classified as Section 78, and referred to this committee on the 14th of November in 2023, the Select Committee report has been agreed to, and with all the amendments that were put in place. And on the basis of that, we move that this bill be adopted, Honorable Chairperson. Thank you very much.
Thanks very much, Baba. Honorable members, honorable delegates, I'll now put the question. The question is that the bill be agreed to. Before we proceed to voting, I shall now allow provinces the opportunity to make their declaration of vote in terms of the Rule 86, if they so wish. Any province?
Honorable House Chair, if you would allow me, please.
Yes, Baba.
Thank you. Honorable House Chair, the Western Cape supports the Housing Consumer Protection Bill. However, we must flag some concerns regarding the process that was followed. It must be stated that the chairperson of the Select Committee, Honorable Dodovu, ignored the submission by the DA and reaffirmed by both the State Law Advisor and Parliamentary Legal Advisor to allow for a clause-by-clause voting process by provinces as part of the negotiating mandate phase in terms of Section 76. Instead, he followed the advice of the committee secretary not to allow for it. Furthermore, not all submissions by the Western Cape were considered and was left out of both the C list and the D list of the bill. The DA believes that this compromises the validity of the lawmaking process and may open this bill and other pieces of legislation open to be challenged. This can result in the bill being referred back by either the President or the court, and will lead to wasteful expenditure as the entire process will have to be repeated once again from scratch. I thank you.
Thanks very much, Honorable Member. Honorable Barbara.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson. Honorable Chairperson, the African National Congress fully supports the adoption of the report on the Housing Consumer Protection Bill as tabled by the Select Committee on Corporate Governance, Human Settlements, Water and Sanitation. Over the last 3 decades, Chair, the ANC-led government has developed and passed legislation that seeks to address the legacy of the past while ensuring that it provides mechanisms for the provision
Sorry,
of
Honorable House
quality.
Chair, can you hear me? Chair, I think your mic is not on. I can't hear you.
I hear you. Are you raising on what, Honorable Member?
Yeah, Honorable House Chair, I just want to check. You asked for provinces to make a declaration, and the member standing is making a declaration on behalf of a party. So I just want to check if she's making this declaration on behalf of the province or a party.
On behalf of the province, Chair.
Continue, Honorable Member.
Yeah. The aim of the Housing Consumer Protection Bill is to ensure that once approved by Parliament and assented to by President Ramaphosa, it would guarantee protection not only for government-provided houses, but also protect households from scrupulous construction companies that are building poor quality houses as they seek to maximize profits at the expense of our people. In short, the bill puts our people before profits as it protects the housing consumer. Honorable Chairperson, we commend the provincial legislatures for supporting the bill with amendments. Indeed, our government demonstrates its commitment to quality by ensuring that government-appointed construction companies never do housing projects due to poor workmanship. The passing of the bill will further deal huge blow to those involved in corrupt practices in the housing sector, especially the collusion between government employees and human and business people. Lastly, during the public participation process, our people demonstrated their support for the bill and gave us a mandate to ensure that we pass the bill, having included their concerns to strengthen the final bill. I thank the Honorable Chairperson.
Thanks very much, Honorable Member. Honorable members, I shall now proceed to the voting on the question. And the question is that the bill be agreed to. I will now call upon the provinces to cast their votes. When they call upon heads of delegations, must indicate whether they vote in favor, against, or abstain. Eastern Cape. Enkosi Mama. Free State.
Free State is in favor.
Yaleboha. Gauteng.
We didn't hear Eastern Cape, Chair.
Eastern Cape iyavuma. Chair, bendingayivulanga imic.
The mic was not on. Right now? Yes. Okay. And Taten Sube, you can come in. Free State.
Thanks, House Chair. Free State votes in favor, Chairperson.
Aleboha. Gauteng.
Gauteng in favor, House Chairperson.
Thank you, Papa. KwaZulu Natal.
KwaZulu Natal yawese kumbiko sihlalo mama.
Thanks, Momo. Limpopo.
Limpopo in favor, Honorable House.
Aleboha me. Mpumalanga.
Mpumalanga vote in favor, Honorable House Chair.
Siyabonga Ntombo. Northern Cape.
Northern Cape vote in favor, Honorable Chairperson.
Thanks, Mama. Northwest.
Bokoni Bophirima ba yamogela modulasetulo.
Raleboha. Western Cape.
The Western Cape supports.
Thank you, Baba. The voting is now closed. A number of the provinces voted in favor. There are 9. I therefore declare the bill agreed to in accordance with Section 65 of the Constitution. Honorable members, we are now at a 9 order of the order paper. Honorable Delegate, We will now
Honorable Chair,
proceed in the northern.
Honorable Chair, on point of order,
Angizwa.
before we proceed to the next order, I'm calling a point of order.
Honorable Totovu, anguzwa ivoice yakho ngathi ishile.
I'm saying that before you proceed to the ninth order, Honorable Chair, I'm calling a point of order. Are you allowing me to speak? Can you hear me, Honorable Chair?
Yeah, Bob. You can
Yes.
continue.
My point of order is that I'm reading where we posting on our chart, and Honorable Mokause of the EFF has posted that the staff of Parliament has joined this criminality that of that council of uniting against her. It means that there is crime that is perpetuated by this council, according to her, and that the staff of this NCOP is perpetuating that criminality. This is really out of order. It is uncalled for. You can't go to that extent, labeling the council where you serve in a criminal council, and again, calling the staff members that they have joined some criminality that we don't know. And I'm raising a point of order because this is not permissible. This wrong. This sends a very, very bad message. And I ask that you rule on that to an extent that she must withdraw this posting that all of us can see that she has posted. Thank you.
Thanks, Honorable Member. Honorable Member, because we can't hear you, even the table can't help me on what you are raising. And I think if you want us to listen to you, you must correct your mic so that we can hear what are you saying. And can we proceed, Honorable Totovu?
You can proceed, but I've registered that particular point. Go to the chat messages, Honorable Chair, you'll see what I'm talking about. And this is what I'm saying, Honorable. Thank you.
I-voice kabab Totovu yangidisterba angikuzwa angiyafuna ukukumamela ukuthi uthini. But ngicela ukuthi sikhube, Honorable Member, because really I can't hear you. Really, I can't hear you.
Honorable House Chairperson, you're not missing
Can we
much.
continue?
We can continue, yes.
Okay. Okay. Honorable Totovu, we'll check on the chat on the complaint that you have raising. Siyabonga Tata.
Okay, thank you, Honorable Chair.
Thanks, Bob. Honorable Delegate will now proceed to the 9 order consideration of SA Post Office South LTD Amendment Bill B11B-2023, National Assembly, Section 75, and report of Select Committee on Public Enterprise and Communication thereon, announcement table and committee report on the 27th March 2024, P145. I'll call on the Honorable BB, Select Committee on Public Enterprise and Communication, to present the committee report. Mama.
Thank you very much, Chairperson, for the opportunities. Greetings to yourself and also to my colleagues in this house, especially the KwaZulu-Natal special delegates, Honorable Peking Konyeni, Honorable Sfiso Sonjita, and Honorable Nhlakane Pontombele, who are with us. Thank you very much for that. I'm humbled to table this report in this august house, Chairperson, this is the report of the Select Committee on the Public Enterprise and Communication on the South African Post Office, SOC, LTD, Amendment Bill and B11B 23, dated 27 March 2024. The Select Committee on the Public Enterprises and Communications have considered the subject of the SA Post Office SOC Ltd Amendment Bill of B11B 23, National Assembly, Section 75, referred to it, reports that it has agreed to the bill. Process followed by the committee chairperson. The bill was referred to the Select Committee on the Public Enterprises and Communications on the 30th November 2023. The committee received a briefing from the Department of Communications and Digital Technologies on the 21st February 2024. The committee, acting in accordance with its constitutional obligations to facilitate public participation, invited interested parties to submit comments on the bill. The committee chairperson advised the bill on 21 February 2024, inviting all interested stakeholders to submit written submissions and to indicate whether they would like to make an honor submission to the committee. The invitation was advertised for the period of 4 weeks from 21st February 2024 to 20th March 2024 on the parliamentary website and in community newspapers in all 11 languages. Chairperson, the committee received only 3 submissions from Congress of South African Trade Unions, the South African National Council of Blind and Tape Aids for the Blind, and the South African Express Parcel Association and the Prudential Authority prior to the closing date. The former was in support of the bill. On the 27th March 2024, the committee deliberated on the content of the bill and considered the issues raised and satisfied itself that the matter raised was properly dealt with during the department's presentation as it was raised earlier in the National Assembly. The bill was therefore approved with no amendments, Chairperson. I thank you so much.
Honorable Bibi, honorable delegates, I will now put the question. And the question is that the bill be agreed to. But before we proceed to voting, I shall allow political parties the opportunity to make their declarations of vote in terms of Rule 78, if they so wish. 3 minutes per declaration. If none, we will now allow 1 minute.
Sure.
Honorable Lee. Honorable Lee.
Okay. Thank you, Chair. The EFF support the SA Post Office Amendment Bill as a necessary intervention of rescue an entity that is not the brink of collapse. Chairperson, the SA Post Office is one of the entities that has been destroyed by ANC, incompetent directors in government, and it is the ordinary people who are suffering the consequences. The office of SAPO are closing at a rapid rate, with almost 48% of its branches have already closed. This bill will provide us with a small opportunity to salvage a desperate situation. This intervention contained in this bill are important as the post office remains an important means of communication for our people, such as grant disbursement. We must once again register that the retrenchments are not a solution to the financial woes of SAPO and are therefore no means of generating revenue, but further digging the grave of the post office. The SAPO must be an immediate freezing of the closure of SAPO offices in the amendment bill is to be of any value. The amendment bill is but short-term intervention to ensure that the future generations inherit the post office that can render services. Of course, the ultimate solution to rescue public entities that are crucial to the community, however, lies in the roving of the government that has destroyed it in the first place. This can only happen by registering to vote in the 2024 elections and register to vote for the EFF to remove this incompetent government.
Yo.
Thank you, Honorable Bibi, ANC.
Who says yo?
Thank you
It
very
doesn't matter.
much.
It doesn't
Thank
matter
you
who
very
says
much,
you.
Chairperson.
Thomas Dadacher.
Chairperson, we gather here today just 2 days before Freedom Day, a significant day which reminds us that the fruits of the freedom we enjoy today were hard-earned. Therefore, we all have a responsibility to protect our democratic gains. This includes strengthening the role of the state and its entities to better serve the people and build a better life for all. The African National Congress believes that SOEs must be channeled towards the implementation of the objectives of the democratic states. It is against this background that we support the South African Post Office Amendment Bill to enable SAPO to adapt to the evolving needs of customers and communities, and ultimately enhance its service delivery and relevance by expanding its mandate and ensuring that the entity is financially sustainable. The current state of the entity is not desirable, and while members from the opposition benches play politics to discredit the ANC around SAPO, history has no blank pages. It is recorded in history books that it is this very African National Congress that has been fighting for the livelihood of the SAPO, and as a result has advocated for a bailout which till today has not been adequately accounted for by Mark Barnes and his friends from the opposition. Honorable members, we have the collective responsibility to ensure that we save SAPO by passing this bill and ensuring that SAPO of tomorrow's strategy is implemented. As we all know that the South African Post Office plays an integral part in the provision of easily accessible and affordable postal services. And with its massive geographic footprint, it has access to over 12 million households through the National Address Database and administers around 800,000 parcel volumes. We have also seen the Post Office play a central role in delivering critical items such as medication and learning materials across the country. And we still believe that the Post Office is better placed to assist with the distribution of the set-box boxes and well as grants to the marginalized and most vulnerable in our society, working with the Post Bank and SASSA. Honorable Chairperson, we are saddened by the closure of branches and the fact that Section 189 has been imposed on the post office workers, and plead the business rescue partners to curb the negative impact of this process on the staff through various means of alternative opportunities, through the UIF, etc. Once again, Chairperson, the ANC support this bill. I thank you, Deputy Chairperson Mama.
Thank you, Honorable Bibi. DA, Honorable Fesser.
Thank you, Honorable House. On behalf of the DA, considering the continued financial and other operational challenges, it is evident that SAPO's sustainability continues to be under extreme threat that will no doubt impact the economy and job losses. Like PRASA, Transnet, SAA, and other state-owned entities, SAPO could also not withstand the destruction of the ANC government with bad financial management, fraud and corruption, and not adhering to technological modernization. Notwithstanding the fact that majority of all rural post offices are completely broken down, damaged to a level that will require millions of rands to rebuild while employees are retrenched with uncertainty of medical aids or pension funds, whilst contributions are still being deducted from their salaries to the last paycheck. The South African Post Office SOC Amendment Bill will do nothing to solve the problems, since it is ill-timed and badly drafted, and unfortunately, this bill will not be able to save South Africa Post Office as it hardly exists anymore, and the situation will merely become a feeding trough for those who care more about themselves than the destitute South Africans. I thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Visser. Thank you, honorable members. We will now allow 1 minute for delegates who are outside the chamber or the virtual platform to join the House.
Wat sal gekosse parry is die?
We shall now proceed to the voting on the question. And the question is that the bill be agreed to. Delegates who vote in favor should please raise their hands and keep it raised. EFF said its support.
Chair, it's Nita. I support. I've got a problem.
The table will lower their hands when the count is complete. They will also inform me.
Tebogo, agreed? Modise?
Thank you. You may lower your hands. The host will lower all hands on the virtual platform to prepare for the next vote. Delegates who vote against should please raise their hands and keep your hands raised. It's 9. Thank you. You may lower your hands. The count is completed. The host will lower all hands on the virtual platform to prepare for the next vote. Those that are abstaining, please raise your hands. The count is complete. We shall proceed now. Voting is closed. The results are as follows. In favor is 27, against is 10, and abstentions is 0. The bill is thus agreed to in terms of Section 75 of the Constitution. Honorable delegates, we will now proceed to the 10th order. Consideration of Deeds Registries Amendment Bill B28-2022, National Assembly Section 75, and report of Select Committee on Land Reform, Environment, Mineral Resources and Energy thereon, ATC, April 2024. We shall now call on the Honorable Tebogo Modise, Chairperson of the Select Committee on Land Reform, Environment, Mineral Resources and Energy to present the report. Honorable Modise.
Thank you very much, Deputy Chair. Let me present the report on Select Committee on Land Reform, Environment, Mineral Resources and Energy on the Deeds Registries Amendment Bill B28-2022, National Assembly, Section 75, dated 23 May 2024. The bill was referred to the committee on the 20 February 2024, where after the Department of Rural Development, Land Reform briefed the committee on the bill on the 12th of March 2024. On the 14th of March 2024, the committee placed that advert on the parliamentary website, as well as on the electronic media platform, calling for public comments. Only 2 submissions were received by the committee, which were from the Law Society of South Africa and from Mr. H. Ditoi. During the deliberation on the 16th April 2024, the department responded to the submission, stating that they, having considered all the inputs, they are still of the opinion that the bill has been passed by the National Assembly sound. The input raised were not considered to be one of such a nature that they will improve the bill, while others such as comments stating that the bill appear to refer to the reference gender in some section, but in other were comments on the bill rather than concrete proposal on amendment. Considering the proposal amendment will create an incredible cumbersome process of advertising and passing regulation, and that there is no precedent for such a process. If the implemented will unduly delay the work of the registry board. In terms of the suggestion that the bills specify the number of posts for such registry office, the department and committee stated that the legislation staff member is not practically, and that the number of officials appointed in each office is dependent on the volume of deeds being processed, and will not be static comment over time. In terms of the proposed change to definition proposed, the department counted stating that they reject the proposal change as being too narrow in application. These are not only processed in terms of the National Housing Program, and referencing this in definition proposal will not be appropriate. The department and state legal advisor noted the comments pertaining the Public Service Act, but stated that it is a general practice that any reference to any act implies the most recently Amendment Act. The negating the need for any alteration such as reference, the department further rejected the position that state attorney lacked experience in the registration of the land and rights in the land. The proposed change in clause 5 were therefore not supported. The Select Committee on Land Reform, Mineral Resource and Energy, having deliberated on and considered the subject of the Deed Registration Amendment Bill B28 2022, National Assembly, Section 75, referred to it and classified by the JTM as Section 75. The committee agrees to the bill without any amendment. Therefore, the committee requests the House to consider the report. I thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Modise. Honorable delegates, I will now put the question. And the question is that the bill be agreed to. But before we proceed to voting, I shall allow political parties an opportunity to make their declarations of vote in terms of Rule 78 if they so wish. Honorable Makause. Honorable Makause.
Thank you, Chair of the Council. Chairperson, the EFF support the Deeds Registries Amendment Bill. Clause 3 of the bill proposes an amendment of Section 3 of the Deeds Registries Act by extending duties of the registrar, one of which is to record land tenure rights to include the rights which were historically excluded from the statutes due to the apartheid land policies and property rights. Though the EFF have no problem with this principle, the EFF believes that when these duties are passed to the registrar, legislation should be passed as to how land tenure rights, which now have to be recorded by the Registrar of Deeds, are going to be established. It is of concern that the Registrar of the Deeds could be bogged down dealing with dubious and unclear rights or become involved in litigation in respect of matters which are somewhat vague. Lastly, Chairperson, Deputy Chair of the Council, we note that there is a proposed change in substance in that the Deeds Registry Regulation Board may no longer make regulations. Our proposal is that regulations must be made by the Minister on the recommendation of the Deeds Registry Regulation Board. This also appears from the proposed amendment of Section 9 of the Principal Act. Having said that, Chair, the EFF support the bill in this principle. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Makause. TA? No declaration. ANC?
Thank you, Chairperson. The Deeds Registries Amendment Bill of B28 2022 exists to make amendments to the Deeds Registries Act of 1937 so as to substitute certain obsolete expressions, to delete the reference to a registrar of mining titles or a mining commissioner acting as a registration officer, to provide for the extension of the duties of the registrar, to provide for the appointment of the alternate members to the Deeds Registries Regulations Board, to provide for the disclosure of the full names and marital status of persons in all deeds of and documents to be executed or lodged for registration or record in a deeds registry, to provide for the issuing of the certificate of registered title in respect of the fraction of an undivided share in land, and to amend certain definitions, and also to provide for matters connected herewith. As the African National Congress-led government, we want to build a productive economy that requires a balance and stability when we deal with social, political, and economic matters. The received inputs from stakeholders which submitted do not hold substance in hindering the process of the acceptance and implementation of the bill. We also have to outline that other provided alternatives to the process will create an incredibly cumbersome process of advertising and passing regulations, and that there is no precedent for such process. When it comes to the matter of legislating staff, it was seen that it cannot be practical, and the number of officials appointed in each office is independent. So the volume of deeds being processed and will not be static, constant over time. We did not support the matter of changes in clause 5 due to state attorney lack of experience in matters dealing with registration of land and rights in land. This legislation streamlines the deed registration to serve current economic development interests, including the registration of state land, as well as ensuring the land reform occurs within a proper legal work. The Selection Committee on Land Reform, Environment, Mineral Resources and Energy, having deliberated on the considered the subject of the Deeds Registries Amendment Bill of B28-2022, National Assembly, Section 75, referred to it and classified by the JTM as a Section 75 bill, agrees the bill without amendments. I thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you, Honorable Bibi. Honorable delegates, I will now allow 1 minute to delegates who are outside the chamber or the virtual platform to join the House. Thank you. We shall now proceed to the voting on the question. And the question is that the bill be agreed to. Delegates who vote in favor should please raise their hands and keep your hands raised until the count is completed. So thank you. You may lower your hands. I've been informed by the table that there is actually agreement amongst all parties on this, so we won't continue with the voting. The count is completed and we have 38 votes in favor and 0 against and 0 abstentions. We will continue. Honorable delegates, thank you very much. The bill is thus agreed to in terms of Section 75 of the Constitution. Honorable delegates, we will now proceed to the 11th order. Consideration of Pension Funds Amendment Bill, B3B 2024, National Assembly, Section 75, and report of Select Committee on Finance thereon, ATC reports 22nd April. Oh, that's my birthday. Page 6.
Don't canvas us.
We will now follow the
Yeah.
speakers list. I received enough presents without yours. I call on the Honorable M.L. Mamarkhane. The cake will follow. A member of the Select Committee on Finance to present the committee report. Honorable Mamarkhane, it's your turn.
Thanks, Deputy Chairperson. Allow me to present the report on Pension Fund Amendment Bill 2025, April 2024. Honorable Deputy Chairperson, I hereby present for the Council's consideration the Select Committee report on the Pension Fund Amendment Bill. The bill was referred to the NCOP from the National Assembly on the 27th of March 2024. The objective of the 2024 Pension Fund Amendment Bill is to amend various legislation, this being the Pension Funds Act of 1956, the Post and Telecommunication Related Matters Act of 1958, the Transnet Pension Fund Act of 1990, and the Government Employees Pension Law of 1996 to enable retirement funds to implement the amendment to the income tax contained in the Revenue Laws Amendment Bill. The amendments in the Revenue Laws Amendments Bill give effect to the policy objectives of the two-port system. On the 26th March 2024, the committee received a briefing on the bill from the National Treasury. We then received 4 submissions from the Congress of South African Trade Union, the Association for Savings and Investment South Africa, and Institution of Retirement Funds Africa, Government Employees Pension Fund, and Mrs. J. Sneeders. The committee held public hearings, considered the bill clause by clause, and considered policy issues. National Treasury responded to the issues raised during the public participation process on the same day. The report details the issue that were raised during the public consultation process and the responses by the National Treasury. Among others, these are: number 1, the implementation date of 1st September 2024. Some stakeholders felt that this date must be stringently adhered to, while others expressed reservation about the feasibility of meeting this deadline. 2, further engagement post the passage of the bill. 3, some omissions and errors in the current bill. 4, concerns with safety taxing and access to pension funds by multi-party parties. National Treasury responded to all these concerns and issues raised by the stakeholders. The committee, having made several observations, made the following recommendations. National Treasury should table legislation in Parliament on time to enable the committee to conduct effective public participations. The committee on other recommendations made in the Revenue Laws Amendment Bill report that as the withdrawals are to be taxed at the marginal rate and will be a huge percentage of what it is withdrawn, it is extremely likely that most of those who withdraw from their funds will be very disappointed and maybe even very frustrated. It is important that National Treasury, SARS, COSATU, and the pension fund industry inform and educate members about the tax implications of accessing their savings in the two-port system before retirement, the committee urges that this be done. National Treasury and SARS should monitor the tax implication on individuals and the state with a view of easing the tax burden on withdrawals made in terms of the two-pot system in future iterations of the bill. National Treasury and SARS should consider the proposal made by ASISA and COSAT after approved of the pension fund bills. National Treasury and the relevant stakeholders should ensure that implementation and communication plans exist and report on progress made to ensure that all processes are in place to implement the pension fund legislation on the 1st September 2024. Similarly, with 3 weeks after the constitution of the incoming 7th term of Parliament Select Committee on Finance. Honorable Chairperson, Honorable Deputy Chairperson, I now present the report of the Select Committee for consideration by the House. I thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Honorable Mama Khane. Honorable delegates, I will now put the question, and the question is that the bill be agreed to, but before we proceed to voting, I shall allow political parties an opportunity to make their declarations of vote in terms of Rule 78, if they so wish. And I will start with the Freedom Front Plus. Freedom Front
Thank you,
Plus.
Honorable Chair. Honorable Chair, today we gather to address a matter of the utmost importance that affects the very fabric of our financial freedom, the Pension Fund Bill. Chair, first and foremost, let us acknowledge the inherent significance of pension funds in securing stable and prosperous future for retirees. Now, these funds represent a culmination of years of hard work, dedication, and financial prudence. They serve as a lifeline for individuals as they transition into retirement, providing them with means to sustain their livelihoods and enjoy the dignified existence. I urge with deep concern that we address the provisions outlined in the Pension Fund Bill. We recognize the need for prudent regulation to safeguard pension funds, and we cannot overlook the restrictive nature of certain clauses within the bill. One of the most troubling aspects of the bill is the limitation placed on individuals' ability to withdraw the bulk of their pension funds for reinvestment in private businesses. This restriction not only curtails the entrepreneurial aspirations of our citizens, but also undermines the principles of economic freedom and self-determination upon which our nation was founded. As advocates for individual liberty and economic empowerment, for freedom, the Freedom Front Plus vehemently opposes such infringements on our citizens' rights, and we believe in fostering an environment that encourages innovation, entrepreneurship, and self-reliance. Restricting access to pension funds not only stifles economic growth, but also perpetuates dependency on state welfare systems. In conclusion, Chair, we call upon the fellow lawmakers to reconsider the provisions of the pension fund in the light of the concerns raised. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. EFF.
Thank you, Chairperson. The EFF, or the Economic Freedom Fighters, approaches the Pension Fund Amendment Bill with a mix of recognition for its immediate relief potential and concern for the underlying systemic issue it highlights. While the Pension Fund Amendment Bill may offer temporary relief to some, it does little to address the root causes of the economic hardship facing workers. The Economic Freedom Fighters believes that a fundamental restructuring of the economy is needed to ensure long-term prosperity for all South Africans. This includes implementation policies that prioritize the interest of workers over those of corporations and multinational interests. In conclusion, while the EFF acknowledges and supports the immediate need for relief provided by the Pension Fund Amendment Bill, we remain steadfast in our commitment to address the systematic inequalities perpetuated by the ANC government only through transformative economic policies that prioritize the need of the people over profit can we build a truly just and equitable society. Such policies can only come about through the EFF, the only organization which has even ambition plan for South Africa to enrich it out of the control of imperialism, who are using the ANC as their administrator. As we head to the national and provincial elections, we urge all South Africans to vote for EFF. The EFF support the bill.
No, we are not voting
Thank you,
EFF.
DA.
Voting
Can we assist?
Thank you, Deputy Chair.
Can we allow the DA?
Thank you, Deputy Chair. I said more than enough in committee already. The DA supports the bill. Thank you.
Thank you very much, ANC. ANC.
Thank you, Chairperson. Firstly, I can't follow, I'm afraid to say, what Mr. Fani Dutoy of the Freedom Front, I just cannot follow what he's saying. And he didn't raise this in the committee, which is a great pity. But as far as I can tell, he says that on the one hand, people need economic freedom to do what they want. It's their savings, they can set up businesses. On the other hand, he recognizes that if people use up all their pensions, allocations, what they've saved, then the state will have to come to their rescue with social welfare benefits. Now, this bill actually seeks to give people the opportunity, on the one hand, to withdraw money because they're highly stressed, given the 2008 financial crisis, COVID, and so on. And on the other hand, it allows them to do that, but it also recognizes that they should seek, as far as possible, to be prudent about it, because when they retire, they will have less available to them. Secondly, on the EFF, I don't know what they're saying either. This came from the South African Congress of Textile Workers. And only this morning, they asked me to speak to them about two-pot pension fund. And their response indeed is very interesting. I couldn't stay for long because I had to go to a 10 o'clock meeting of our committee. But they still feel 1st of September is too far away. They're pretty desperate. Secondly, of course, we accept that there are inequalities in the country. I mean, that's precisely why we're saying this is a temporary measure. We're not saying that by having this pension fund amendments, that somehow the rest of the problems fade away. And you see, the EFF says that they are a working class Marxist socialist organization, Leninist, Fanonist, whatever they say. But when it comes to workers' interests, the question arises why, if they are that organization in practice, not just in words, they seem hesitant about this bill. They're going to vote for it, but they have qualifications and hesitancies. The fact of the matter is, this came from the workers. It came from SACTU in particular and was taken up by COSATU and other trade unions. And it is the ANC that says the motive force for the National Democratic Revolution is the working class and its allies. And we do it in practice, not least by ensuring that this bill comes from an ANC government and is passed by a majority ANC committee. And finally, we must thank the DA for their very valuable contributions to the processing of this bill. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Karim. We will now allow 1 minute to delegates who are outside the chamber and the virtual platform to join the House, because we are continuing with the voting. The platform, the House, 1 minute. Thank you. We will now proceed to the voting on the question. And the question is that the bill be agreed to. All delegates who vote in favor, please raise your hands and keep them raised until the count is completed. The count is completed, and once again, we have consensus on the voting on the bill. 37 in favor and 0 against, 0 abstentions. The bill is agreed to in terms of Section 75 of the Constitution. Honorable delegates, we will now proceed to the 12th order. It's a consideration of votes and schedule, second adjustment appropriation, 2023-24 financial year bill B6 2024, National Assembly section 77. Honorable delegates, I have been informed that political parties have agreed that declarations will be made on the schedule as a whole. We shall thus proceed now to the voting on the adjusted votes. Before we go to the 1 minute window, I also want to inform once again, as I've always been doing, if there is no call for a division, we will take it that the vote is agreed on. So we will not necessarily ask if there is any division, you will call for one. So let us allow the 1 minute window now for vote 1, the presidency, before we start voting. Otherwise, members can indicate whether we can continue. If every delegate is on where he should be, we will just continue, because I don't think we can take too long with this few votes that we are on, unless there is a division. Thank you very much. I now put vote 1, the presidency. I don't see any indication, so the vote is agreed to. I now put vote 3, cooperative governance. I don't see any indication, so the vote is agreed to. I now put vote 5, home affairs. I don't notice any indication, so the vote is agreed to. I now put vote 6, international relations and cooperation. I don't see any indication, so the vote is agreed to. I now put vote 12, Public Service Commission. No indication, so the vote is agreed to. I now put vote 13, Public Works and Infrastructure. No indication, so the vote is agreed to. And now put vote 20, Women, Youth and Persons with Disabilities. No indication, so the vote is agreed to. I now put vote 25, Justice and Constitutional Development, so the vote is agreed to. I now put vote 27, Office of the Chief Justice, the vote is agreed to. Honorable delegates, I will now put the schedule.
Chairperson, on a point of order.
You are late again.
Yes,
I'm
Honorable
not late.
Mukause.
I'm not
Honorable
late.
Mukause, you may continue with your point of order. You don't have to respond to everyone that speaks.
Chair, Mtsube must learn to respect our chair, because if you don't respect our whip, we
Honorable
are also
Mutsamai,
going not to respect
does Honorable Makause need an
Also have
advocate?
a respect him, Samai.
No, I say if he's not respecting Makausu, we are not also going to respect you.
Honorable Mokause, you called for a point of order. Should I take it you don't have a point of order?
I have a point of order, Chair, and that point of order is on yourself.
Yes.
The way sometimes you become clumsy. Whips have agreed that we are going to mention our objections or our agreement at the end of the schedule, because anyway, the money has been paid. Now you have been doing all the wrong things there on that table. We don't know what is happening with you. In fact, you are taking us aback. That money has already been spent.
Honorable delegates, I don't think that is a point of order.
Not even
So
correcting
before we
you.
proceed to the voting,
It's not even correcting.
I
That's
shall now
stupidity
allow
there.
political parties.
That is pure
Can
stupidity.
someone please mute the Honorable
You are not going
Mokause?
to mute me.
We shall now allow political parties an opportunity to make their declarations of vote in terms of Rule 78, if they so wish, on the schedule. I will now call on the Freedom Front Plus. FF Plus.
Thank you, Chairperson. Agbare voorsitter, die doel van die verdeling van fondse is veronderstel om te verseker dat die nasionaal gegenereerde inkomste regmatig na al 3 regeringssfere verdeel word en ook dat elke provinsie sy regmatige deel van die belastinggeld ontvang. Ten einde toe te sien dat die nodige dienste gesamentlik en afsonderlik deur munisipaliteite, provinsiale wetgewers as ook die nasionale regering aan die burgery gelewer word. Furthermore, Chairperson, transparency and accountability are non-negotiable principles in the allocation of public funds. The division of revenue bill must be accompanied by stringent oversight mechanisms to prevent corruption and mismanagement. Taxpayers' money should be utilized efficiently and responsibly, with full transparency regarding its allocation and expenditure. Ongelukkig, agbare voorsitter, is dit juist slinksheid, korrupsie en blote arrogante inhaligheid wat al 3 regeringsvlakke in hierdie haaglike toestande gedompel het. 'n Reuse deel van die verskillende begrotingsposte aan wie daar wel addisionele fondse toegeken is bloot om regeringssalarispakkette aan te vul en nie om te verseker dat daar beter dienste gelewer is. ANC politieke propaganda word deur die middel van presidensiële werkskepingsinisiatief gedryf en die belastingbetalers is dies wat die rekening moet optel. Moreover, Chairperson, it is essential to prioritize funding for key sectors such as education, healthcare and infrastructure and job creation. These are the building blocks of a prosperous and equitable society. Investment in education and skills development is particularly crucial, and it not only enhances individual opportunities, but also drives economic growth and innovation. As we debate and deliberate upon the division of the revenue bill, let us not lose sight of the overreaching goal, and that's the betterment of our nation and its people. Let us transcend partisan interest and work towards a future where every South African can thrive regardless of their background or circumstances. Agbare voorsitter, alle Suid-Afrikaners kry swaar en dit is die ANC wat die trekpas moet kry as gevolg hiervan. Slegs dan sal 'n werklike herstel en genesing in hierdie land kom en 'n toekoms sonder die ANC sal werklik 'n toekoms wees om na uit te sien. Dankie, voorsitter.
EFF. EFF. Is daar geen deklarasie nie?
Chairperson, we are declaring.
Yes. Can you unmute?
Honorable Matwa is in the house. She's declaring on behalf of the EFF.
She's here, Mozan. Does she need an advocate?
Those are tactics of Julius.
Yes, Honorable Mutua.
Chairperson, the appropriation bill is a bill that is introduced and passed by both House of Parliament every year because it is a legal instrument that we as elected members of Parliament make allocation of money to be spent by national departments. The EFF rejects this bill in this totality because it continues to be based on the principle of budget cuts, austerity measures, and the obsession which reducing budget deficit when there are no practical and believable measures to use fiscal policy to support economic growth and deliver services to our people at the time when the country is facing crisis of load shedding. We reject the appropriation bill because there is no allocation of additional funds for generation of additional power because the plan is to collapse ESCOM. We reject this bill because the majority of our local municipality has collapsed. We reject this bill because the people of Orangeville in Mansimahol have no clean water to drink. We reject this bill because people of Mahonbeck and Poponang in the Free State, the people of Sarana Pathman is in the Eastern Cape and various other communities across all provinces are still struggling with access to clean water. This bill is failing to talk to the need of the people. The economic freedom fighters reject appropriation bill. Thank you, Chairperson.
I'm sure you want to say second adjustment appropriations bill for the record. Thank you. T.
For the record, we corrected you for the first time there.
Suka.
Please keep quiet. Don't disrupt this house, Mukausi. Please, man.
Where are you coming from? You are sleeping,
Honorable
Chief Whip.
Makause, can you respect other people? We listened attentively when your member was speaking. Respect the DA's member now. Honorable Ryder, you may continue.
Thank you, Deputy Chair. The Democratic Alliance would like to call for a division on the schedule as a whole. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Ryder. ANC. ANC.
Lipists.
It's dead.
Here's the declaration.
Chairperson, the world continues to recover from the devastating coronavirus pandemic, which affected global supply value chains and led to deepest economic contraction since World War II. The global economy is further worsened by the Russia-Ukraine conflict and the Israeli genocide, would impact several regions. The introduction of various fiscal policy interventions has led to an economic recovery of multiple economies, with many countries returning to pre-pandemic economic performance levels. Fiscal policy is a critical macroeconomic component which has a significant impact on the economy and thus development. The South Africa government has taken fiscal policy decisions which continues to prioritize the social waste, constituting 61% of the state expenditure. Fiscal policy also plays a critical role in stimulating the demand in the economy through increasing households' incomes and compensation to public service employees. The second adjustment appropriation is a critical appropriation as it enables different departments to adjust the distribution of the appropriation of the vote to respond to emerging needs within a financial year. The second adjustment appropriation before us are just 9 votes with major adjustments for the Department of Home Affairs to support the political parties' funding operations, and from the cooperation governance, vote to support the Presidential Employment Initiative. The ANC supports the second adjustment appropriation bill as it enhances implementation of government programs. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The Democratic Alliance have called for a division. Is this division supported by 4 delegates? Can we have an indication?
Supported by Yakulon, Chair.
Oakham supports.
The division
supports.
The division have been called and supported. I shall allow a 1-minute window to delegates who are outside the virtual platform to join the session. Everyone is inside here. Ek kyk op my watch. Thank you. We shall now proceed to the voting on the question. And the question is that the schedule be agreed to. So delegates who vote in favor should please raise their hands and keep your hands raised until the count is complete. Thank you. You may lower your hands. Delegate who vote against should please raise their hands and keep your hands raised until the counting is complete. Tebogo, Modise, lower your hand, please.
How do you know that she's not supporting?
Suga.
Are you voting on her behalf now? You are disruptive.
Tebogo.
I'm not supporting. I'm not supporting. Yeah, but
No, she was, her hand was up. She don't know what she's saying now.
She's panicking because the master hear that she's not supporting.
She's voting against.
Now the master heard in Joburg that she voted against.
So
one person,
the
one
count
person
is
won't vote,
completed.
you can't vote twice.
Sorry man. Honorable Chabeling, asseblief my nie klink soos iets wat ek ken nie. The count is completed. You may lower your hands. Delegates who abstain should please raise their hands now. And if not now, forever keep quiet. The host will lower all hands on the platform. And the results are as follows. In favor is 26. Against is 11. Abstentions is 0. And the schedule is agreed to. We will now proceed to the 13th order. Honorable delegates, consideration of the second adjustment appropriation 2023-24 financial year bill and report of the select committee on appropriations thereon. I will now call on the Honorable Dikeledi Mahlangu, Chairperson of the Select Committee on Appropriations, to present the committee report. Honorable Mahlangu.
Thank you, Honorable Deputy Chairperson, the Chief Whip, honorable members, special delegates present on the platform, and fellow South African, Ngiyanilotshisa namhlanje. Honorable Deputy Chairperson, it is my privilege to table before this House a report on the second adjustment appropriations bill, that's Bill 6 of 2024, on behalf of the Select Committee on Appropriations. The committee adopted the report, while the DA, the Freedom Front Plus, rejected the report, and the EFF reserved its position on the report. Hence, the ANC is reflected as having supported the bill. Honorable Chairperson and members, Section 213, subsection 2 of the Constitution of the Republic of South Africa provides that money may be withdrawn from the National Revenue Fund only in terms of an appropriation by an act of parliament. The second adjustment appropriation bill was tabled by the Minister of Finance on the 21st of February 2024. Section 12, subsection 15A of the Money Bills and Related Matters Act number 9 of 2009 provides that after the National Assembly passed the adjustment appropriation bill, the bill must be referred to the National Council of Provinces and referred to the Select Committee on Appropriations. The NA National Assembly passed and transmitted this bill for concurrence to the NCOP on the 26th of March, 2024. Honorable Chairperson and members, to facilitate public participation and involvement, and in compliance with Section 72 of the Constitution of the Republic of South Africa.
Deputy Chair, I'm rising on a point of order. Deputy Chair.
Your order is?
With due respect, the leadership of the council, which comprises of all the political parties across the NCOP, agreed that the two orders must be done, not individually. They must be read as one. Now, we declared on the previous adjustment. Now, you are making us to go and say the same thing whilst the chief whip of the council communicated that we are going to do both the bills as one. And parties agreed. So I don't understand what you are doing there. I don't understand what confusion we are causing there.
Honorable Mokause, thank you. We will allow the other parties. And Honorable Ryder is indicating that you've got a different view from your view.
Are you telling me, Chair, that you are disregarding?
I was not part of your. I was not part of
We are not part
I
of
was
the
not part of your committee, so I'm listening to all the members. Honorable
Are you
Ryder,
telling
you may
me that
continue.
when you are disregarding the chief whip of the council, who comes from the ANC? Are you saying that? What are you saying?
Honorable Mokause, can you allow us to continue? Honorable Ryder.
Thank you, Deputy Chair. The Honourable Mokause is exposing herself because the reality is that the schedule is entirely separate, and the PFMA requires a voting on the schedule and a separate voting on the report and the bill.
You are not
the
the
two
whip.
matters
Ryder,
cannot be
you are just
conflated
a
and must be
member
dealt
there.
with separately.
You are
Your
just a
process is
member
correct.
there.
The agreement
You are
was
not
held
briefed.
that the schedules would be dealt with as one, all in one together. Thank you, Deputy Chair.
And thank you very much. I have been chairing this process for the past 5 years, and we've been doing it like that. And according to the information at my disposal, you have only agreed on the issue of declarations at the level of the schedule, but we should still adopt the bill. So we continue, Honorable Mahlangu, you may continue and finalize your report.
Sorry, Honorable Deputy Chair.
Honorable Lonzo.
I did
Honorable
raise-
Mahlangu, you may
I hope my
continue.
minutes
Sorry. Sorry,
are
Deputy Chair, my hand is raised, so I didn't want to just interrupt, but because I think you maybe didn't see my hand, I'm now raising
Yes.
my voice. I do respect how you chair it, but I mean, heckling is definitely allowed in the House. But this constant screaming from the side from Honorable Mokause is really getting tiresome. And Honorable Ryder made a very valid point, but half of it was lost because the screaming from the side. Now, you have muted Honorable Mokause for a few times now, but at some stage, this is becoming too much, and this screaming is becoming unbearable. So I'm not going to do your job, Honorable Deputy Chair, but if you can at some stage just consider
I'm not
that.
afraid of a
keeps going
master.
on.
I'm not afraid of a white master.
Thank you,
need to
Honorable
underline that.
Lont. I don't think you assist because Honorable Makause would want to respond to you also. Can we please continue? Honorable Mahlangu.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson, Malibong, kuleyo ndawo, and hopefully my minutes have been reserved. Chairperson and the members of the House, to facilitate public participation and involvement, and in compliance with Section 72 of the Constitution of the Republic of South Africa, an advertisement was published on the website of Parliament and social media accounts inviting the public and all interested stakeholders to make written submissions to in as far as the bill is concerned. Honorable Chair, additional to the National Treasury briefing the committee on the content of the bill on the 6th of March 2024, the committee also consulted with the FFC and the PBO on the 20th and 27th of March 2024. During a public hearing held jointly with the Standing Committee on Appropriations on the 13th of March 2024, an oral submission was made by the Congress of South African Trade Unions and Public Service and Accountability Monitor. Honorable Chairperson, upon approval by the President, the Minister of Finance should gazette the second adjustment appropriations bill. This is a bill, B6 of 2024, the one on the table, which provides for a net adjustment of 290 million rands across functions and economic classification to absorb the 2023-24 wage agreement increases in the education, health, and security sectors. Honorable Deputy Chairperson, the National Treasury, together with the Department of Basic Education, Health and Security Cluster, and their provincial counterparts should, within 60 days after the adoption of this report by this August House, develop clear plans to ensure that additional funds are properly utilized for the intended purposes, which is to implement the 2023-24 wage agreement without delays and ensure that frontline service delivery personnel are prioritized. Parliament will continue to monitor the implementation through referred sector committees in the 7th administration. Honorable Deputy Chairperson, the Department of Corporate Governance should, within 60 days after the adoption of this report by this House, develop clear measures to address delays in the my apologies, Chairperson, in the appointment of service providers for the Community Works Program, CWP, and further develop plans to mitigate the service delivery impact of the 400 million rands reduction from this program. The committee is of the view that underspending due to inefficiencies has the potential to undermine the important fight against unemployment, poverty, and inequality. Honorable Chairperson and honorable members, the Department of Public Works and Infrastructure should, within 60 days after the adoption of this House, by this August House, adoption of the report by this August House, develop a clear, measurable, and quantified plan to address unfilled funded vacancies and other inefficiencies impacting negatively on service delivery, and which led to 70 million rands budget reduction. The committee finds this unacceptable as it potentially undermines the important fight against the triple challenge Honorable members and Honorable Chairperson, our last recommendation is that the National Treasury should, within 60 days after the adoption of this report by this August House, develop measures to ensure that there is continuous improvement in the level of transparency when it comes to national budget matters. Particularly the explanation of budget adjustment, which have the potential to impact negatively on service delivery program. In conclusion, Chairperson and honorable members, I would really want to thank all the committee members across political line, provincial committee members, committee stakeholders, media and public, as well as the committee support staff. Without all these role players, Honorable Deputy Chairperson, this work will not have been done successfully as is. Therefore, the committee recommends to the House that the bill be adopted without amendments. Thank you. Ngiyathokoza.
Thank you very much, Honorable Matlangu, and thank you very much to all the other members. Honorable delegates, I will now put the question. And the question is that the bill be agreed to. We will now also, before voting, allow political parties an opportunity to make declarations or vote in terms of Rule 78, if those who wish. I'm going to call on the Freedom Front Plus if you want to make a declaration. I take note here.
No declaration, thank you, Chair. We don't support it, but no declaration.
We didn't hear you really.
Honorable Chair, I'll repeat myself. No declaration at this stage. Thank you. We do not support this, but no declaration.
Thank you. EFF. Mutwa.
Thank you, Deputy Chair of the Council. Chairperson, we would like to put it categorically clear that whether the money is spent or not, the EFF will never support anything to spend by the ANC government.
Minister of Finance.
Because we all know that where the money goes, it's where corruption is and where the looting is going to happen. People of the Eastern Cape, people of the Northern Cape, people of Gauteng still have pit toilets. Where is the money in 30 years of governance? Kids still falls under pit toilets in provinces like Eastern Cape and many other provinces. In 30 years of democracy, you have been in government. Where did the money go to? People still drink filthy water in the Northern Cape. People still drink filthy water in Hammanskraal. People still contract cholera in Hammanskraal. But yet, you've been in government for 30 years. We are driving through the rest of the country, a potholed country, but you've been in government for 30 years. Chairperson, it's only the looting that is happening. Therefore, this adjustment is rejected with the contempt it deserves by the EFF. When we take over government, we are going to show you how we are going to spend money of government and give people previously disadvantaged.
Honorable Makause. 3 minutes have expired.
In your dream, you are just
3 minutes
dreaming.
have expired.
You are dreaming.
Honorable Rider of the DA, Dromgai.
Thank you very much, Deputy Chair. Before I start, full disclosure, I wrote the first paragraph of the declaration before today's outburst, but yes. Deputy Chair, as we near the end of our 5 years together, members should all be well versed in the requirements of their positions. Sadly, not so. Sadly, many of us have become all too accustomed to the same ritual of the National Assembly, endorsing the executive's demands to meet and feed the corrupt and ineffective machine that it has created. And then the NCOP simply rubber stamping the decision of the Assembly. If only we could hold out hope that today would be any different, because the bill before us today is unconscionable. The executive has proposed taking money away from the people who need it most and paying it directly to the wealthy. and the National Assembly has endorsed this. Let me explain. The Community Works Programme and Expanded Public Works Programme are aimed to provide very basic work and a basic level of skills to people in need of support, in exchange for which they get a small stipend. As much as the system has been abused, its intention is a lofty one, and the work of some of the projects that are run through both EPWP and CWP has had great impact on the lives of South Africans, not only the beneficiaries, but also the communities that they serve. Honourable members, the ANC-led executive is removing 408 million rand from these two projects through the bill that lies before us for consideration, along with another 62 million from Public Works. This money is going to be used to give 200 million rand to the represented political parties' funds. Yes, colleagues, we are taking money away from the poor to fund the posters that the ANC forgot to buy. At this point, I want to draw your attention to Section 30 of the PFMA, which lays out the criteria for adjustment budgets. Adjustments must be as a result of, amongst other things, unforeseen expenditure. But we're moving money to the political parties. What was unforeseen there? The inability of the ANC to manage its finances. We all knew that long ago. In addition, the bill asks us to move 70 million rand to fund the office of the Minister of Electricity. What was unforeseen about this expenditure? We told you it was going to need to be funded. Essentially, members, you are being asked to vote for a bill that goes against the principles of the Public Finance Management Act. And some members are not being asked, but have been instructed. The Democratic Alliance rejects this report and this callous bill outright. And more so, we reject the notion that this House merely does the bidding of the executives. The eyes of South Africa are upon us. Vote carefully today, because the people get their chance on the 29th of May. Thank you, Deputy Chair.
ANC. ANC.
The ANC is dead. You don't know.
So, is there no declaration? If there is none, we will continue. We will now, yes.
Chairperson, I think somebody was allocated to do the declaration, or if I may, because the person seems to be, I don't know, unconnected. So may I offer that? I'm in the committee.
Please do.
You are saying?
Is Mahlangu now chairing? Nogal, please do.
It's Honorable Karim saying
somebody
he
was
already
allocated. I don't
he
know
have
who
done
it
his
is, but if they're not
declaration.
available,
That is
I
what
will
he's
do it.
saying. He has done his declaration. That's what he's saying. Honorable members, we will now allow 1 minute to delegates who are outside the chamber and the virtual platform to join the House. Where's Honorable Mutua?
She's on virtual, Chair.
We will now proceed to the voting on the question. And the question is that the bill be agreed to. Delegates who vote in favor should please raise their hands and keep their hands raised. So you keep your hands raised until the count is completed. Thank you. You may lower your hands. The count is completed. Delegates who vote against should please raise their hands and keep it raised. Tebogo Modise. She have raised also when she voted in favor. Tebogo Modise, you are voting for the second time.
No, but she made took a stand.
No.
She's
Is your
voting
name
against.
if your name is Tebogo Modise?
She's voting against.
Ma'am, I'm not voting.
Now lower your hand then.
I'm trying to lower my. I'm trying to lower
Help,
my.
can the table help Honorable Modise to
Which
lower her hand?
technology? Did I? Okay, I manage. Thank you, ma'am.
Because she voted in favor, she can't vote twice. Can Honorable Ryder lower his hand now? Ah, poor man. I'm sorry, my friend. The count is completed. May lower your hands. Delegates who abstain should please raise their hands. I'm giving it to the chief whip to deal with it. The voting is now closed. We will get the results from the table. And the results are as follows. In favor, 26. Against, 10. The bill is agreed to in terms of Section 75 of the Constitution. Thank you very much, honorable delegates. Allow me to thank the permanent delegates, special delegates, MECs, SALGA reps, everyone else for availing themselves for the sitting. Honorable delegates, that concludes the business of the day. Thanks for traveling to Cape Town. The House is adjourned.
I've been sent a message requesting that members, as they leave, go down the passage toward the Deputy Chair's office. Thank you.
Recording stopped.
The Deputy Chair's office.